Good morning, it's 8:30 a.m. and we are here for consent agenda review and work session. Are there any items on consent agenda that you guys had any questions about yesterday?
The hands and paws request for funding. There's further discussion needed for that.
I don't know if anybody else has seen this for the rental property. When we had our meeting with the city, we're good with it because we're only responsible for that.
Yeah.
So we're good on that.
I got in first try.
Contract is ready to be signed and we're good to go.
I think it's this one, right?
Yeah, it's very first.
The hands and paws one, did you set a limit? Per
No, I
year,
thought
or
maybe
That's what we were gonna
we
talk
should put maybe 5,000 to whatever we want, 10,000, and then just kind of save it for all the other groups that may be requesting, because I believe Bonnie's group will be requesting, and
wanting it to kind of.
it's gonna be hard to.
Well, yeah, this is just one event, and they do multiple in a year.
Yeah, and I think they only charge $40, or they're still bringing in like $9,000, I want to say. $40 if they. But if our donations, we cannot buy t-shirts and I don't believe clothing items, promotional items, unless it's through tourism. Oh, and then Rob, too, while you're going to carry, we had our update. We have 161 or $69,000 in SIP, and the city of Moses Lake is requesting 300. And I don't know if the commissioners approved it, but they're getting ready to send us another request, and I think we need to halt the SIP account because to see approval of it, because currently we have more requests than we have funds in there. But if we've approved it, then we're on the hook for.
That's SIP through Brant.
Yeah, so with our 161, we like to have $100,000 in that account. We have the previous commissioners.
So you just tell, you know.
But we have a 300, and I don't know if did the commissioners approve the $300 request? So technically, if we've approved it, we are.
Let me,
Carrie would know.
Carrie is online,
Oh,
I don't have the power to unmute her, but if you want, I can.
can we give Caitlin some power to?
I have power upstairs, just
Well,
not
I
down
think
here.
if we,
Carrie said no, it was not approved.
okay, so it's just holding, so we're getting some that we're, yeah, we just gotta hold on. I mean, to me, I think we should just hold off until we can build up those funds and.
Wouldn't they be holding that? Why would they be giving grants if their account has no money? I mean, I think that's a conversation that needs to happen. I mean, Brant is in charge of that.
But. I feel
I
like
guess
it's
we
slowed
probably
down.
need to find out from Brant if he's approved that.
Well, yeah, if he knows.
Yeah, technically, they would get something from our office stating, okay, you've got like 400,000 in account, you've got 3,000 to. Thank you, Carrie, for. That was yesterday's comment.
Yeah, no problem.
Have you guys, this is just kind of outside of the, I can wait if you want me to, outside of the consent agenda, but I got a call about West Shore, the mailboxes, and then they did send me the letter. I sent it to Andy, so maybe we can get some answers, but they're removing all the mailboxes and then putting in
Putting in big mailboxes.
CBUs.
They're-
And they're saying that the county is asking for that. When I talked to Andy previously, he wasn't aware of it.
Was that part of West Shore Drive bid?
Andy's right there. You grab him.
I just, that was kind of a.
We have a question for you.
Come on, Andy.
It is really all right, Andy.
Are
Did
you-
you get, good, thank you for the use of the wonderful car. I wasn't just totally.
Good,
blew
I'm
me
glad,
away, so
I'm
thank
glad
you.
I worked for you.
I almost liked it just as much as the van. I was just telling the two commissioners about an email I had received, I forwarded to you about the CBU, the mailboxes on West Shore.
Yeah, I was gonna talk to Tyler today, but it's my understanding that was a postmaster request, is
Okay.
putting in all those mailboxes, so I haven't had I was off yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to look into it, but that's my understanding, that that was their request, it wasn't ours.
Okay. Because I
So-
keep thinking it's something that, I'm like, we normally don't group up mailboxes. We put them back where they were.
Well, and that was my question when it came up earlier, because why do we care where the mailboxes are? And that's when I thought Tyler told me that was a postmaster
Okay.
request, but I have not gotten to speak to Dave about it.
We are looking at 4 different roads along there to place and not just like 2 spots with hundreds of them at each spot. There's 4 different locations we're looking at placing them, so there's fewer and hopefully closer to those residents at each one.
Kind of like what they're doing in the new developments.
Yeah.
Now, is that something that we provide, or is that part of the bid, or?
Should be part of the contract.
Okay, yeah, I do nothing, I'm like, I don't know. So she did send me the information, the letter.
It's something we'll have to, again, talk to Dave about and
Okay.
verify.
Okay, so hands and paws. And we did see the budget. Some of that was for t-shirts and
Right,
food, things that we cannot.
right, we can't pay for that stuff. You're thinking we're gonna have another, we know there's another one coming.
I think there's another one coming.
September, or October, so.
So maybe if we took off the t-shirts and the food, trying to think, the food was maybe 1,800, the t-shirts were,
$4,000 to these guys and $4,000 to the next one.
or maybe 2 or 3, 2,500.
The food and drinks is 2,000, t-shirts was 1,300.
Was there anything else on there that was not?
So all the rest of it looks like it's stuff that you would need for,
The pet stuff. So if we paid 3,000, I mean, that would, they could figure out where to do their food and their t-shirts from. If we did 3,000, that would basically be the balance that they need, minus the food and minus the t-shirt. I would be okay with 3,000.
Yeah, because we know we have another one coming, so if we did.
Rob, would you be okay with 3,000?
Three for the next one.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I just think that we need to make a plan of how we do these rather than just one by one. I just worry like this is a June one, so then we get an August one, we say no, and now we're the bad guys.
So what if we
Well, we're
just,
expecting one in September, October, that's why I'm thinking 3 and 3.
But then it's like, okay, gave hands and paws, gave the helping hands, gave to this one, but what about me? That's, I guess, we got, I don't know how we do it. It's almost like you need like a process, like a grant process of, you have 12,000 and, oh, we got 15 requests, or you got 50,000, you got 10 requests.
So maybe we should make it a policy that if they have, 30 days from the January 1st to bring their request
For the year,
for the
or
year.
maybe in the fall,
yeah.
in the fall when we're working on our budget, if we put $10,000 into an account or 6 or 8.
That would probably be the easiest way to handle that. We can say, well, you didn't get it in and your request didn't come in time, so. That's our policy.
I know this will be very helpful in our community doing this.
Well, it is,
Yeah, no, I agree with Rob. I think we're just trying to kind of catch up and do something that we can. Throw something out there to show that we're helping.
where did you want it to be paid out?
Miscellaneous general government. Well, we have 7,000 professional services. We probably need to take something out of one of our. Since we only have $500 in miscellaneous, we have 7,000 in professional services. We could probably, definitely falls under professional services.
Andy, I'm assuming this right of way or this easement, they were given the 10 feet to the PUDs for those new power lines that are going in and out on Stratford.
What was your question, Kevin?
The resolution for the easement, 10-foot of easement along Stratford Road
Yes,
on the east side of Stratford, that's probably for those new power lines that are going for the PUD.
correct.
We could take it under professional services if we pay, don't they have a vet coming through? Like we could directly pay the vet for professional.
Yes, there is like the professional time for doctors line on the budget.
What is that amount?
2,400.
We could offer to pay the $2,400. That might be the easiest way to take it out of 2,400. Whether we do it, give it to Hands and Paws, or we just pay that amount. That might be the easiest and that'll be the safest because it won't be used for t-shirts or anything else.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So $2,400, doctor. Okay.
Yeah, that would cover the cost of that. I would agree with that.
I'm all right then.
Professional services, miscellaneous general government.
Rob, I had a couple questions for you about the DMO and the workshops. I don't know if you have had time to read through all of those emails between Tom Beckwith and I. He's wanting to hold, I printed out, it's on your desk somewhere. He's wanting to schedule all these workshops way in advance, and he is wanting to have the hearing room in the evenings for them, for like 60 to 90 minutes in the evenings. And I just need to know, I guess, if you are
Yeah,
gonna
who can be here to be here.
Yes, and how you would like to proceed. And then
I don't
also,
see your deal. It's just,
it's just like a little spreadsheet, Grant County Tourism Master Plan. It should be by the pending decision spreadsheet. He's wanting LTAC and tourism here on 5 different Fridays, so it's like once a month. He's wanting LTAC and tourism here. Because he said that he was under the assumption that they were the contact people for the tourism master plan, which I did not respond because kind of all of it, kind of not. And And then there's a couple Mondays and the Thursday that he's wanting to have open houses and workshops with the public. And he's wanting those in the evenings. There is a day that he'll be meeting with the commissioners, but that'll be during your guys' meeting time. We also have not received any form of a summary of like a short summary of the information that they gathered at the previous workshops. The only thing that we've gotten from them are the notes that Missy took, and she's the like arts and culture director, I believe, for his consulting group. And her notes were very extensive, and it would take a very long time to read through them. And I had asked him if he was going to be putting together something smaller, and he had said yes, but we still have not seen that. And when I reached out last week to ask about that again, because we've gotten a couple inquiries from tourism and like from the Sand Scorpions, they were asking. He had said probably later this week. And then we got his invoice. I showed it to Kevin, as I've been doing. He's the one that's approving them. And one of the lines on his invoice is development of a resident survey, which says it's 50% complete. He's asking for $2,000 for that, but I have not seen anything about that. So I did reach out to him yesterday per Kevin's instructions. I reached out to him asking if we could have something, see what he's done with that so far. But it feels difficult for me to get information or assistant scheduling or anything like that with him. So my question to you and to the other commissioners was, how much are you wanting me to do? Like, do you want me to keep emailing him for updates, or do you want me to just leave it be and let it go, or?
No, I like the emailing for updates.
Okay.
What I know from just being here is that you're not going to get people to come and do workshops on Friday nights, period. It doesn't matter. Like you're Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, or else people aren't coming. Maybe a Thursday. But a lot of people, it's like an out night, dinner night. So,
Got other things to do.
yeah, usually by Thursday it's personal. Like like a lot of people I know, the business stuff at night is Monday, Tuesday. And then Thursday's pretty rare. Moses Lake, I guess, once in a while. You'll have like quarterly or something type thing, but no one's gonna come on a Friday. And during event season, I don't have Friday nights to sit in here while he has no attendees. So.
He also did not say that he was wanting these sessions in the evening until
It's at 6 p.m.
after. No, it was until after he said that. So he asked me for days of the week, did not say that he wanted evenings. And so I told him, if you're wanting to book it for the whole day, Fridays are the day, because there's not regularly scheduled stuff. And then there were a couple of emails that was back and forth, like he had emailed me asking about availabilities, and I told him Fridays and sometimes Wednesdays, and then he kept asking about other days of the week. And then when he CC'd you was when he sent over that schedule and then said that he was wanting evenings.
So we can go back, look at the evening availability in the same weeks, and then we'll just change them.
Okay.
And offer those to them.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
And are you wanting to attend those? Or are you wanting to?
I don't mind attending when I can, of course. And I'm good to do that. But if there's something else I have, I'm not gonna just.
Right.
I don't know. So we just need to look at it all. We just need to look at it. But this doesn't work for me personally or commissioner wise, so.
Right.
And it wouldn't get any attendance. This might as well be on Zoom, because no one's gonna be here.
Well, I think that would be this ideal situation. If you just did it on a Zoom meeting or something. He's on the west side, so he's gonna have to travel either way.
Yeah, coming over for a 60-minute meeting.
Yeah, it seems.
I mean, I know you're trying to burn up the budget that you got, but at the same time. I could see it, if you were gonna do something like Friday morning, maybe people would be available to actually go in and contribute, but I don't see it in an evening at all. So, yeah, let's just look at this at lunchtime. Well, okay, Barb's gone. I don't know when your lunch is today.
Whenever you guys don't have meetings.
Anything else for the last minutes? Okay. Just remembering the motion this afternoon to change the amount on the request.
Right. We don't have any walk-ons yet? Period, we don't have any walk-ons.
Walk-ons this week.
All right, then we will go into recess for 2 minutes. Good morning, it's 9 a.m. and we are here for Public Works Update.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning, guys.
I'd like to start with our accomplishment update.
Good morning. So last week's accomplishments, so our new litter, full-time employees got to work, picked up 13 illegal dumps, including 81 tires, battery, all down in the Mattawa area. 3.53 tons of illegal dumps. Also at,
So John, do they have a load or something, or they manually pick them up and put them on a trailer?
yeah, they're manually picking them up.
A lot of
And these
tires.
guys are the ones, they're gonna be, if I'm not mistaken, they'll be not just picking up bulk stuff, but they'll be walking and picking up individual cans, bottles, not just large, which is typically what the litter crews do. Usually the seasonal are just picking up large items that are already bagged, or couches or that type of thing. These folks will clean up everything, so.
Were these some of the ones down in the south part of the county where everybody's complaining about people dumping stuff, or there more down there that are aware of?
No, it's pretty rampant everywhere. South part of the county tends to be more in the fall when we see a large amount. Typically, I think workers are headed back south for work, and so there's a lot more dumped then. I think Moses Lake area is just constantly day after day. Doesn't matter what time of the year it is.
Well, it's around that transfer station. Any of those roads that are getting used heavily to go to CDSI's transfer station, we have a lot of garbage. And that's one thing that they're going to tackle, is just walking the roadsides, picking up everything and bagging it. So not just on our right of way, but.
Does CDSI, they pay for some of that?
No.
And they're not a large contributor. Their doors on top don't always close, and so you do see it blowing out of them. But I mean, it's probably, compared to what's being done illegally, it's a very small amount. But
Other vehicles losing stuff out of the back of the trailers or whatever.
Yeah. So on the road districts, they're grading in all areas of the county. Some rock raking, some gravel replacement, both up here on the hill in Baird Springs in the Heartline area. Crack filling continues in both District 1 and actually areas 2 and 3. 2 should be done this week, I believe, and District 3 next week. They're looking at being finished with the crack filling. And then we'll be on to more pre-leveling before seal coat. Some runoff damage repair in District 2 on 8 Southeast. Bridge cleaning, guardrail repair maintenance, Sunland Estates area. We had a sander this winter avoid a citizen that was in their lane going down the hill and had to go into the guardrails to avoid them. So that was repaired last week. Our line striping by contract, you can see they did a little over 1 million feet, I guess.
Yeah, linear feet.
Linear feet of it. They really move along, so they get a lot done. Railroad crossing and stop bars, and some sweeping out here by the golf course, Soap Lake area, and also in the Quincy area. 7.8 northeast, that gravel to oil. We should be putting the prime shot down tomorrow on that. So they'll be finishing it up today and in the morning, process it one time and putting oil down tomorrow. So we won't probably hit the second shot on it till during seal coat. We'll swing through there and apply that second shot of oil. That's it for our accomplishments.
Got a compliment on the road spraying. I don't know what you guys are using, if you changed the spray both, but it's working.
Oh, good.
So thank you.
We haven't changed a lot. It's just, they were
Consistency.
quite bad. And so it took a few years, as you know, to kind of get it under control. And we are changing. We have some resistant areas where it seems really bad with our kochia. The mixture we use will do a good job. And then in certain areas, it knocks it back a little bit and then it just comes right back. So we are testing some different chemicals in those areas, not only chemicals, but like surfactants, things like that. And we really haven't found anything super consistent. One of the areas we had that was really bad was 9 Northwest between probably Adams and Dodson was really bad. And we actually went ahead and put the bare ground chemicals on that last fall because we couldn't do anything with it. It's really bad stretch. So we're hoping the fall bare ground chemicals, they're a little more expensive, but hopefully that will work. We can do that for maybe 3 to 5 years. All those resistant seeds hopefully will be gone. So no, they're doing a good job. They're getting really frustrated this time of year with the wind, and started out great, and then 3 days later, like, okay, now we're so far behind. Yeah, that's how it
Oh,
goes.
to get a compliment like that, and I didn't even do it, I'm like, oh, yeah, it actually does. It is, we're looking really good, so I just want to pass on, so thank you.
We will pass it along.
Yeah,
So-
and rarely do we get compliments, so you just want to pass those on,
Yeah.
especially about weeds.
We don't.
We find out, like, hey, do you guys spray?
Boy, when we started, every complaint I got, I just had to start out agreeing with them. Yes, it's bad. I can't argue with you. I know it is, but this is what we're shooting for. And to start a program from the ground up was a lot of work, but I like it because you can see the fruits of your labor. You can see the weeds are dead, or I like that.
Looking good,
Yeah.
so thank you.
We'll pass it along for sure. Any other questions on the accomplishments?
No.
The Road A easement purchase, about a year ago, we discovered on A Northwest that we had about a mile of existing road with no easement. So this is completing that fix. And it's, I think it was $40,000 to purchase the easement. I don't know how it was discovered, but it's something we definitely had to get fixed.
Yeah, that is item number 6.
Well, at least they agreed to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what
Some other entities aren't being very nice.
we're lucky it was all DNR, I guess. Maybe that helped, but no, I'm sure it won't be the last one, but they are few and far between. So that's what that is.
At least we got it. That's the main thing.
Yeah. We've recently had some questions on the stormwater permits that are having to be done for planning. So we had Tyler look into that, and the county code is pretty vague. It kind of leaves it up to the county engineer. However, that stormwater permit is required by the Department of Ecology. So it's not even our requirement. I mean, it is because our engineer can decide at any time, but so I know we've had a couple of questions about that, so we did a little bit of digging. And that's what we found out. So we would like to, do you have anything else?
No, I think that was it.
Do you guys have any other questions?
So on the stormwater, do we need to update our codes, or do we address it, or?
I haven't gotten that far. I need to sit down with Jim. Now that we have that working together to put that development review engineer over there. I didn't honestly even know what the answer was, but our code's pretty vague, mostly up to the engineer, but it circles back to a requirement by ecology.
So are you talking about roadside, like on the side of the road, or you're talking about developments where they have to have the
Developments.
collector
I think
on?
the question that came up is somebody wanted to put in a hay shed and they're being required to do a study. And that's Department of Ecology. That's not us. That's a requirement by the state. So it doesn't matter if it's a hay shed or a housing development or whatever it is, it's required by DOE.
And we should be getting close on that development review engineer. Jim signed off on it. Dave signed off on it. So hopefully maybe even next week we could have that open and move forward with filling that position. That was the ultimate goal of sending our employee down to planning is development review engineer that can do the short plats, the major plats, do all of it. So I think we're close to getting that open. So, and like I say, we've been working with Jim. It's been going great. Good partner. It's working. So, is there anything else? We would like to request an executive session for personnel,
Disciplinary or evaluation?
probably evaluation,
How long?
10 minutes. Yeah.
All right, we will be going into executive session from 9:11 to 9:21 for a job applicant / evaluation, RCW 42.30.1101G.
That's all we had.
Yep.
It is 9:21 and we are out of executive session.
Did you have any other questions for us? We had the Stratford Road, we met with the PUD and talked about it. There's, we think that'll work good. That's what we did on the other sections. So that was that.
Any other West Shore issues? People getting high centered on the curbs?
Not this week.
West Shore, West Shore, West Shore. The week is so young.
You have the chance to look into the hay shed?
I have not looked into that specifically. I was looking into that stormwater permit generally, and that's what I found out for that.
Yeah, that's what Catherine told us is it's not even us, it's Department of Ecology requiring that now. So
For building, so. I would think that that would be a facility or a structure that they will want to stay away from all,
Yeah.
all rain, all snow, so it.
yeah.
So if you guys don't have any questions, that's all we have.
Okay, well, I'm gonna run upstairs
We will go into
with
recess
counting.
until 9:30 when we're back at the sheriff's office. Good morning, it's 9:32 and we are here with the sheriff's office with Sheriff Crete and Under Sheriff Mansfield.
Good morning.
Howdy,
How's it going?
great day.
Good. I was gonna have Chief Deputy Coates come over today and give a little bit of an update to you on our RFPs that we're currently working on and drafting for medical care over at the facility. I don't know if you guys are aware of you have heard that there's now been two medical contractors that have pulled out of the state of Washington. NavCare being one of them, and I don't remember off the top of my head the name of the second one, which is making it pretty difficult for us to get medical care in the jail for contracted medical staff and coming in. Biggest reason, of course, is increased cost of insurance in these places. The correctional medicine alone in our state is extremely expensive to maintain, insurance-wise. So our RFP process may be pretty short. We may not get a ton of companies that are interested. We do know that there is one that is actually a company based out of California that is most definitely interested in knowing when the RFP does drop, so they don't want to miss the information and when it does happen. So we are still actively working on that to try to get 24-hour medical care over at the jail, because when the new facility is done, we already need it. We're going to need it even more when the new facility is built. So yeah, that's kind of the update on the RFP process that we're doing right now. We actually have Rick Bishop, who is the subject matter expert with WASPIC, that's here on campus today, and he's taking some tours of our jail right now, as well as I think Phil's gonna walk him up to the new facility today as well too. So he's out walking around. I was hoping they were gonna be able to come over here just if nothing else, an introduction, so you can meet him and all that. We do have, as far as the EM side, we are doing some research to try to get a grant for to help with the critical stress incident management portion of the office. The problem is it part of the grant requires a part-time employee. I don't think we're going to be able to get a part-time employee hired through a process before the grant, before it would expire and we would have to report out on it. I just don't think it's going to happen quick enough. So, morning, Cindy.
Morning, sorry, so I was just running down the road.
So we're still looking at the grant, still see if it's something that we can make happen or not. I'm just not sure we're going to be able to meet some deadlines because of our the position that we may possibly have to hire to get the grant. Sounds like I said, sounds like it's part-time. I just don't know if we can meet the deadlines to get that done, to get the grant. So still looking at that as an option, just other funding sources, of course, just looking to see what's out there emergency management wise. So yeah. Then of
Where'd
course,
that company pull out of Washington because of tort law?
NavCare? Yeah, they had another case out of, I want to say it was Pierce County. I think somewhere on the west side, I think. And so they said, yeah, we're out.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it to them. So they're pulling out of there. So on our RFP, we're going to actually include language with the help of Tom Gaines. Been a big help for us, which he's kind of the resident expert when it comes to RFP processes, honestly. He's been a huge help to us, and he's encouraged us to use some language that basically states any other agency out there that wants to go through an RFP process, that our RFP would be, they would be able to use ours, so they don't have to redraft it, another one. So, which makes it pretty easy. In fact, I wouldn't even be upset if somebody finished theirs before we finished ours. so we could do the same thing. So, as far as the RFP stuff goes, we did have our behind the badge golf tournament yesterday. Great day. The weather was amazing. Had a really, really good turnout. I think our funds that we're going to raise will probably be just a little bit lower. I think economy has a lot to do with that right now. But all in all, it was a great day. All golfers, as far as even the country club said, were just amazing. Really, really friendly. Everybody had a great time. Behind the badge staff was there as well. They got to enjoy the day and kind of see what the golf tournament was about. And we do have the largest fundraiser for Behind the Badge. It happens in our
So
county.
how much money do you?
We've raised anywhere, the highest amount we've wrote a check for them for was up close to 95,000 in the past. We're gonna guess that we'll be probably somewhere around 70,000 this year, probably. But we also raised money for a scholarship fund in the name of John Bernard, for John Bernard Memorial. So that's also money that we do raise locally that does stay here as well. But the resources that Behind the Badge is now providing, it's not so much just them coming in and providing an assistance when you do lose somebody in the line of duty. They're now starting to really expand their process on the critical incident stress management side and try to prevent some of these things from happening long term with not only law enforcement in general, but with families. So you have peer-to-peer support, not only on the law enforcement side, but you also have peer-to-peer support from survivors to other survivors that may be there, or somebody that's going through just a critical incident portion, because what we do out in the field, it goes back to our homes. It does. It doesn't just affect us. It affects our wives, girlfriends, significant others, kids. It reaches further than just us working on the road. So it's a big piece that now Behind the Badge has really taken on to really expand their resources to try to benefit not only just law enforcement, but families of law enforcement as well. So it's turned into a really great program within the state, so, and the Northwest. So, yeah. Very, very successful tournament yesterday, raising money. Very successful. Yeah. I don't know if I forgot anything there.
No,
Anything else to add?
pretty much covers it.
Yeah. So any questions from the board? Nada?
I just want to thank you guys for what you guys do.
Thanks, Kevin. And by the way, I got your message this morning. I just haven't had a chance to reply yet, so thank you.
No worries.
Thank you.
I get it.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. It's, we're really lucky. I mean, we really are. As far as, executives, we're very fortunate having the people that work in this county and in our agency. And sometimes it gets frustrating how long the process is to hire somebody. It does, but it just pays dividends in the end. It really does. We get so many amazing people hired that it's worth the wait. It really is. It is worth the wait, and going through the hiring process to get the great candidates that we get. And they are top notch. They really are. So thank you. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
I think Warden PD, they're looking for a new chief.
Yeah, Rick is retiring. Yep, Chief Martin's
Showed
retiring.
to the mayor, she's a little nervous.
Yeah, yeah.
How do I go about doing this?
Yeah, Chief Martin retires. Yeah, he's retiring in June. Yeah, June, I think. First part of June.
Yeah.
So,
They're advertising on Waspic's website, so if you're gonna get a quality candidate, that's who you contact.
yeah, we've got quite a few feelers all through the nation. Waspic does, so, yeah. Good place to advertise those positions for.
How's Salt Lake doing?
I think they're doing okay. We're helping them out quite a bit with coverage and stuff like that. So, I think that I think the mayor is very motivated to try to find the best fit for the city. We've met with him a couple times, and I think his vision is good. I actually kind of like the perspective that he has for the community, and he's most definitely he's really putting the community first.
He is.
In his
Yeah.
mind, really is. They've had some people apply for the position, which is great. I think I think they're going to end up with some really good candidates. Yeah, I think they're going to end up with some really good candidates that they're going to probably going to land a really good chief. I think so. I'm pretty confident with that, with the direction the mayor and the city council has really put on the police agency. So it's actually, it'd be pretty exciting to jump into that role and to build that agency back. It really would be. It'd be kind of an exciting opportunity for somebody.
Well, they need it.
Yeah. But I really do think that they're going the right direction. I think so. Like I said, I think the mayor and the city council have a really good vision for the city and the community, and I think that the city may not see it right now, but I think in the near future they will. I think that they'll agree with the vision that they have. Just going to take time. Yeah. But yeah, we're continuing to help them out as best we can, and providing resources. Anything else?
Thanks, gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, one other question, sorry. Have you thought about, I know we used to do these once a month. Have you thought about doing them every other week instead of once a week? You thought about it? I don't know if you've got any feedback from anybody else. Yeah, I don't know if you.
Oh, I totally 100% have.
Oh, you have? Okay. I didn't
But I don't
know.
know the others, because like yesterday, some of our meetings were 3 to 5 minute updates.
Yeah. I do like it better than monthly. I feel like in the month ones, I lose things and kind of purge them by the time the next update comes. And I think keeping the same half-hour time frame, I think it'll be beneficial every other week, in my opinion. But like I said, I don't know what feedback you got, because sometimes I'll tell you those 3 to 4 minute updates sometimes take an hour to 2 hours of finding information to update on. So 2 hours,
I think
2
for
hours.
A little bit, it was pretty easy, and now
Yeah.
people are running out of information.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's painful.
In 2 hours,
Extracting information, the
Yeah.
same thing we heard last
Yeah.
week.
I mean, I
But
could,
that's just my opinion.
I could really,
My opinion
Use
is
2 hours.
that, when was the last one you were at?
well, you canceled last week's.
So it's been like
And the
a
week
month.
before-
It's been like a month since
week-
I've seen you.
Yeah, week before my dad passed, so I was
Yeah.
gone that
Sorry
week.
about your dad.
Thank
Yes,
you,
for sure.
thank you.
But
And,
I struggle on it for a couple reasons. So like when we did the once a month and then we did some quarterly updates
Mhm.
and all you ever heard was, I haven't had a chance to talk to the board,
Mhm.
haven't had an opportunity to be in front of you,
Sure.
haven't had my time to talk to you. We do this, we did, nothing ever happened. I think that the every week is excessive myself, but since then, I have not heard that a single time because everyone has full access every week
Mhm.
for it. And
Well, and
so
I,
I guess I struggle on that because am I gonna say this is perfect? No. But how it was when Danny and I came in was like, what
Yeah.
is this? Just
I didn't like it once a
show.
month. Yeah, I didn't like it once a month. I thought it was, I feel like there was a lot of things I was probably missing in a month. But even if I'm not here, I've got representation here.
Yeah, and
So-
it's nice to get the
Yeah.
update on them and,
You- and
you
I've
know,
got-
we probably get more jail updates.
Yeah, I've got more, I've got 3 divisions that we try to give updates on. So like, even if I'm, like I said, I know we weren't here last week because we canceled, but I don't think I've missed one since.
Well, it's nice
Whether
to
it's
hear
not me or it's the representation.
You know, it's nice to hear other people's perspective too. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
not
yeah.
just yours, but,
Sure.
you know, other,
Right.
some of the other people.
yeah, that's why I said I was hoping Chuck was gonna be here today. So you could meet Rick and it just so happens he was here today, which was great, you know, it just didn't work out for him to come over, but yeah, I didn't know if you guys had got any feedback on that.
No, I mean, I would say there's there's a handful,
Mhm.
you know, Superior Court updates is like, what are they gonna tell you?
Yeah,
You
right,
know,
yeah.
or the clerk's office.
Right.
But Kim did complain a lot for the last 4 years
Mm-hmm.
that she didn't have a chance to talk to us, or
Yeah.
she didn't get to be heard, or I think it removes a lot of that. Somebody that loves it is like Daryl.
Yeah.
You know, I think he looks forward to it every single week.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
Daryl doesn't have to interrupt everybody else's meeting.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've never had a problem having access to the board because I used to come to roundtables all the time.
Yeah.
So I always
Yeah,
felt I
we
had,
used to have the elected official
Yeah.
roundtable every morning.
yep,
and
so
then
I always
just
felt
kind of-
that you're easily accessible, you know, for sure. In fact, I typically would stay around after the meeting and shoot the breeze with everybody. It's what I typically do, but, so yeah, I don't know. I just never felt that I haven't had access to you guys. I've never felt that way. I think there's always been an opportunity if I need a phone call or you need a phone call, we've always been there and vice versa. At least
I'll
that's what I
correct it.
felt.
So what I said every morning, so every Monday morning,
Mhm.
once a week, we would have, it was from like 8:30 to 9.
Yeah.
We would have commissioners roundtable, so the elected officials could come in, but
Mhm.
it just fewer and fewer people
Sure.
showed up, but
Yeah.
we could probably put something.
Well,
like that.
for me, I guess it's kind of,
Monday mornings are not always the best. for
yeah, but if people choose not to show, then I think that they kind of relinquish their opportunity to complain about not having contact with me.
That's not true.
Well,
I agree.
so I guess that's why I've never really complained about it because I come to the roundtables when we had them and stuff. I like coming, you know, I really do because sometimes if you're not at a meeting, you get volunteered to do something. So
Well,
I want to
think
make sure
people will come to us, and I think when their voice isn't heard, I think what they're saying is, we didn't go the directions they wanted to, you know,
Uh-huh.
we went a different route, and I think that's probably when we never listened to them, or
Gotcha.
sometimes we're just,
Well,
to say yes to everybody.
well, I just want you to know that from my office, we've never felt like we haven't had the ability to contact the commissioners. So it's nothing but a phone call away, and I have no problem reaching out when I need to, and it's been really easy for me and anybody in the office. So whether it's your staff upstairs
Vice
or
versa, if we needed to contact your office.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
would agree with that.
yeah. So that's never a concern of mine. So I am completely open to doing every other week. If you want to, I'll stay with the week. It doesn't bother me. I just didn't know if you got any other feedback from anybody else. I wasn't sure, so I thought I would ask.
Yes, we've got a little feedback.
I do like it better than monthly, for sure.
I'm totally open to someone creating a new schedule.
Don't look at me.
No, if we do a different schedule, we need to get buy-in from all our team.
Yeah.
That's after the training
Yep.
we went through, it's like,
Well, yeah, and like I said, I'm open. Yeah, I'm completely open. I don't prefer the once a month. That's the one I don't like. I feel like if I share information, a lot of it is purged.
Mhm.
But I think within 2 weeks, we can have a fairly decent update. At least gives us, because our staff meetings are typically on Wednesdays. So having my update and then having a staff meeting on Wednesday by the time the next week comes, this information's stale. So, yeah, I could change my staff meeting days, I guess, but to
Yeah,
accommodate it.
no, I think we could probably open up our schedule and ask. 'Cause some of the time slots.
Sure. I think my
people don't
duration is
necessarily
good.
love them.
Yeah, I think my
That'll be the
duration of time
problem.
is good, even if it went every other week.
Uh-huh.
30 minutes to me is still plenty. I really do think it is. I think that gives an opportunity for me to share information with you, and then if you have any information that
Well,
you
you
can
have
share
the
with me.
sheriff's office, emergency management,
Yeah, and the jail.
corrections.
Yeah, so I still think half hour is plenty of time, even if it's every other week. So worst case scenario, I just give you 30 minutes of your time back if we do every other week. I mean, I don't need an hour, so, yeah. Something to kick around, I'm open to it. Just let you know, I'm totally open to it. And yeah, like I said, I've never felt like I didn't have an opportunity to reach out to the board for anything, so, yeah. That's it.
All right, we'll go
Perfect.
to recess until 10 a.m. We're back for facilities and maintenance.
Yeah.
Good morning, it is 10 a.m. and we are here for a facilities and maintenance update.
Well, good morning, Commissioners. Again, I'll start off with a few things. So on consent today, you have the PSA for the coroner's office. Thank you very much.
No, Tom, thank you.
Well,
Keep
and thank Commissioner Burgess for moving that ball as quickly as he did. I do have a walk-on for consent today. Sorry, Caitlin.
You know, I was just asking, do we have any walk-ons?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I do. This is an extension. It's an easy one.
Caitlin and coffee is what that means.
I know. It's an extension of the purchase and sale agreement for the PUD because we're still trying to get this plat done, so it's an extension to that. And I need to get that back to them. Also, we had a water leak in the Harwood fire system, and it was a little bit more extensive than we thought. It did leak on top of the fire control panel and shorted it out, and now we don't have a working fire alarm system. So it's kind of a life safety issue. We have a quote to repair it for $7,700 from Camtech, which I've told Chris to go ahead and do so that we can get that up and running. By all rights, they can shut down that venue. We don't want that to happen. So that's coming up. And then, I got this crazy idea in my head, and I just want to run it by the three of you before I do it, and I'm going to hand it over to him. I'm going to do an update on Facebook on the roundabout. But I also thought about I was going to do a very quick update on the jail, but then offer to take like 5 people on a tour. Just random members of the public who
Only 5?
well, I can't, yeah, because I don't want to be in charge of an entire gaggle, so, but I might do it, for a few Mondays, see what kind of response I get.
Invite the mayors of the neighboring, or somebody from the city council, which,
Yeah.
I invited them to the last tour we did, and
Yeah.
none of
The
them,
mayors?
yeah, none of them are available.
Yeah, they're always
Our mayors
welcome to
have
go, but how often do
paint
you,
jobs.
how often do you reach out to just, the taxpayers out there and
That
say,
would
hey,
be kinda
come
cool.
check it out, so. As long as you guys are
And
good with it.
maybe somebody from the Herald or I-Fiber or whatever other newspapers we have, it might be.
I think they've gone with Phil, haven't they?
I think they have, yeah. And I had an email this morning from the lighting team about somebody else asking questions. They had to fill out something, but,
Great idea to include the community.
yeah, why not? And then other meetings that I have this week, obviously tomorrow is kind of jail day, the jail owners meeting, the change order meeting, the roundabout meeting, and GCTS staff meeting. And then Thursday, I have a meeting with the jail commissioning team. That's the first one we're going to do. And that's to set expectations for the startup of all of the new equipment that's going to be at the jail and how we're going to measure all of that equipment and make sure it's working as it's supposed to. And I've got my NACO Military and Veteran Services Committee meeting and the project kickoff for the website design updates. And lastly, Thursday is the Speedway Flats bi-weekly development meeting with the PUD. So that's what I've got going on this week. I'm sorry. Last but not least, Como News reported this morning that the Washington County's Insurance Fund acknowledged that tens of thousands of dollars of public funding are missing due to a lack of oversight.
always good news, right? So,
Go.
go for it, Jeff.
All right, so as much fun as he's having, we're trying to keep up. So we're still working on the YS move to Wheeler Road. We've got a lot done. We've got the lights installed that are dimmable and color adjustable because some of the folks said they would get headaches, and
Thank you
so
for that.
and we got that done. So that included rewiring the switches, pulling wiring for that. So we got that all done. We also got the data cables pulled to accommodate the technology being used in those offices. So we had to get additional cables pulled over for TS so they could terminate ends and get the wall outlets in there for that. Also got the data cables and pulled for the cameras. So as soon as the cameras are in, they can mount them and they'll be active. And they also needed some additional furniture. And so a couple of weeks ago, we were fortunate enough that Renew was getting rid of some desks. So we had grabbed those kind of with the idea that they would go to the new jail and to the maintenance spaces there, but they're getting picked off and going to other facilities. So we'll be keeping our eyes open for more furniture as it comes in. But we also helped them move all the furniture from obviously from Ivy Road or Ivy Street up to Wheeler Road, and help them get all of the boxes and everything they needed to do that. Offices up at Wheeler Road still need they have holes in the walls and they still need to get painted at some point. And then the request for the windows, we'll be working on that as well. And it kind of leads into another point that we had talked about. The submittal of qualifications are in for architectural and engineering services for the on-call roster. We will be grading them out this week, probably. Will probably be Thursday when we'll do that. And that will tie into 3 basic projects that we have hanging out there. We have the windows for cutting into the side of Wheeler Road into that facility. We have Public Works is looking to modify a mezzanine down at the landfill so they can make that into an office. So we got to move a stairwell over, but understanding how that helps support that mezzanine, we'll need some engineer to look at that and see if that's feasible or not, or how that affects the load rating of that. And then we also had the lobby renewals or update, I should say. So we'll use one of those that we find in this submittals to help engineer that as well. So we had 6 submittals for that RFQ. And so I think we're just going to put them all on the roster and figure out which one works for each project. So we'll have that completed this week as well. Circling back to the project, so youth services we've got pretty much settled in. We're finishing up with veteran services as well. He needed some furniture, so we're helping him order an office system for where he's going to sit. He originally wanted to take the system that we purchased a few months ago that was fitted for the office that he was occupying and move it. And I was like, oh, no, these things are measured and fitted into here. So if you need something and you have funds, we can go out there and get another one that fits the office space over there. So he said he had funds, so we got that measured up and we'll get that ordered this week for him. There's drywall work to do up there, painting as well. Got the rekeying done up there for that space so that it fits the needs for the Veterans Administration. So, and then both sites were still hanging up whiteboards and things like that. So it's consumed a lot of maintenance resources. We've had some people pinging back at us, hey, what about this and this? So we're going to have to kind of start weeding away from that and taking care of some other sites and making sure they're happy, and probably I'm looking at doing some overtime to get back on top. So again, we kind of put a lot of resources into that move and getting that done.
Well, they were happy with it, so.
Okay, well, I'm glad the guys worked hard on it. I mean, it's been a lot of time. And I guess if they got smiles on their faces at the end of the day, we were successful.
Well, and veterans, our core navigator is no longer employed through the state or whatever the payment.
Right, the grant.
So we have an extra spot there now.
So they should have plenty of room. I
Yeah.
mean, they gained a lot of office space.
And we've had good positive feedback from Andy and John about the changes up in Public Works, right?
Yes, and so a lot going on up there as well. We do have one unleaded fuel pump down yet. We're waiting for a relay for that. So we're gonna check on status of that. Abel was gonna call Tyler from SME and see where it's at. When he's coming in to put that relay in, they're gonna do another training session on PMing, changing filters and hoses and checking more on the tanks. So we're gonna lean on SME a little bit to help train the new guys up and get that organized. When they do that training, what they're doing is they're taking those bullet points that they learn and they're building the PMs and getting those into the system. So it's not lost knowledge, right? It's not something that somebody's holding internally. It'll be there for the next person. You can go here, here's what the checklist looks like. You can go out and get 90% of it and then ask questions as needed.
Right.
So that, a lot of work going around that. Just in the facilities as a whole, right? So they went through their Abel's working through the facilities. In the admin building, they had 7 assets listed for like fan cool units in the ceilings of the admin offices. They found an additional 7 up there. Some were taken apart, so they put those back together. And yeah, it's been an undertaking there. So we're shops, finding compressors with oil leaks, getting those fixed up. So extending the asset's life there.
But I think it's safe to say the stress level over there has come down a notch or two at least.
Yeah,
So
it is. I mean, it's pick them off and build it, make it right. And Abel and Eli, they're been great about doing it, just going at it. You know, they get here at 6 a.m., they take off, they're gone, they come back in about 3:45, and yeah, they look like they've been run through the ringer, but they've accomplished a lot. I mean, they're going through and talking about it. It's like, whew, yeah, you guys are doing it, man. Good job, great job, actually.
Definitely been needed over there.
That's nice to have.
Yeah, oh, it is. I mean, and we knew we were gonna get that with Abel and Eli. He's a high energy kid yet, so he's wanting to learn and he's applying himself. He's going in head first, and he's actually got quite a bit more knowledge than anticipated for as young as he is. So he's been a great find for the county. So he's been here for 60 days. So when his evaluation comes up, I think we kind of need to look at rewarding him for that. So other things we got going on this week, the maintenance 4 position, Abel's position has been posted, so we'll keep an eye out for applicants there. We're also going to do the sheriff's facility site supervisor interview this week, and we'll keep you apprised of what happens there as well.
Yeah, your moves in Public Works have been good. They mentioned that last week when I talked to them for a while, that they're really happy.
Good.
And then I met your new, it's a few months, the guy from Renew,
Oh,
Yeah.
Jeff, yeah. He's actually brother-in-laws with Brant Mayo.
Yeah, he was at the,
Yeah, yesterday. That's where I met him. So,
No, and Dell's been really happy with the work he's been doing up there, so.
yeah, I think you guys are starting to get what you had the vision of originally
finally.
going. So it just was a fun, long road.
yeah, well, yeah.
Now we just gotta keep it up and find the right people to keep plugging into those
Yeah.
Still
spots.
moving.
Other than that, that's all I got. Any questions or
Questions for
thoughts?
facilities?
No.
No, thank you for all that you do.
No, you're welcome.
We'll go into recess until 10:15 when we are back for TS update.
Okay.
Good morning, it's 10:15 a.m. and we are here for a tech services update.
Good morning again, Commissioners. First, I'll start with for GCTS on consent. We do have some big items, order confirmations for some software and some license renewals totaling, almost $450,000 in total. I didn't know if you guys had any questions on those at all. We can go over them in more detail if you like, but these are annual renewals that were expected for our Microsoft Office operating systems and our data center CALs. So they're not cheap.
I briefed them a little bit on the Microsoft
Oh, did you?
to let them know that it was coming this week.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
so I knew that was a big thing.
Yeah, I know, yeah. So on the federal level, just very quickly, the House of Representatives did vote this week on legislation that goes to the President's desk on the Take It Down Act, making it a crime to publish or disseminate non-consensual intimate images online knowingly, so people can get in trouble. Everybody's kids, parents should be happy about that. Interestingly, there were two dissents, Thomas Massey and Eric Burleson, Kentucky, Missouri, both Republicans, for some reason voted no. And then also specific action is underway by NACO. They're trying to stop the removal of the sunset clause for the first responder network. So this will automatically expire in 2027. This was instituted after 9/11 when we discovered severe limitations in our ability to communicate in times of national crisis. Our deputies, and specifically all of our elected officials and critical department heads, have cell phones connected to that network. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. We don't want to lose the ability to have the first, if something catastrophic happens and they all decide to shut off the cell phone towers, they narrow them down to these little pies, but we would still have access. We would still be able to communicate. If that sunsets, we wouldn't have that capability. So that's what it means, and I can't imagine they're going to allow that to sunset, but we'll see what happens. They're already starting to be worried about it. So, and then there was a lot going on this week. I know there was a lot of emails. I was only half paying attention to them about printing in the courtrooms, and it was
We've got some
public
stuff to talk about
defender
there.
and the judges and Kevin McRae. So
Yeah.
with that, I'll turn it over to you. Let's talk about that and everything else.
All right, cool. Well, just a real quick update on the fairgrounds. We've got all of the new rack is installed in the sheriff's booth, and the NVRs are loaded up in there, and we're running cameras for south and for the commercial building and 4-H building areas all into that space now. So that's that. Ricky and Luke are working on getting enclosures built and installed on the first 4 light poles that are currently up. So they're out there today working on that. So district court prosecutors printing. So Seth and Keith went and met with prosecutors and the judges. They talked briefly about locations, but it seemed like the conversation revolved more around why are we doing this? How necessary is this? And it didn't seem like there was a very solid answer given. Apparently the prosecutor who made the quip where he won't be here much longer, it won't be his problem. So that didn't land well with me. I had some off to the side communications with Judge Gwynn and Desiree. And Judge Gwynn basically said, well, it's up to you if you want to allow this. And I had the opinion that, no, this is your courtroom. You should decide what happens in your courtroom. But if he's giving me the power to determine this, I am less inclined to do this every second. We have to figure out a digital way to do this for when the new jail happens. And I would rather put that effort into the digital version of this instead of the occasional printing of documents. Apparently the attorney's going to be remote, but the legal secretary is going to be in the courtroom to do the hands-on parts. So why are we doing this at all? There's just a lot of what ifs that weren't answered. The court doesn't seem to be super thrilled about this, and they want very minimal disruption. So if it's supposed to be just an on occasion thing, seems like a lot of effort for an on occasion thing. We got to buy 4 printers. We got to find places to hook them up. We don't know if there's data connections or power where we're gonna be able to put these
And I think
things.
the judges are concerned about, extra effort having to be put forth by their employees.
Yeah.
So,
I can tell you there's no data where they need to have the printer support, so
Right.
we'd have to put data drops in. And then one of the things that was touched upon is in Superior Court, they don't have printers available for the
Right.
attorneys, and the attorneys show up prepared with their paperwork.
Period.
So even if the attorney is remote, their legal assistant is there with the paperwork. So
well,
I
and
can't-
which begs the question why some of the Superior Court judges are very sticky about not having any paperwork. Everybody has to be in front of me and in person because we sign stuff. And it's like, well, if everything's already there, then why are you concerned about a jail being remote? So.
And so in Moses Lake District Court, I'm sorry, the prosecutor's office does have a couple desks kind of over by the WSU side. So if they had to, the prosecutor's office, print a document, they could print it there and their legal secretary could go get it in the building and be back. I don't foresee that as a huge disruption to the court. I don't know. If it's being left up to me, I'm gonna say no. And unless I'm told otherwise, so.
Well, and we'll just keep working through it, say no, and see if anybody
Okay.
pushes back.
All right. So, but
I did ask Judge Gwynn if he could reach out to his peers to find out other court jurisdictions where they do have a full digital solution and what they are using and how they do it. Because we're not going to be the first people to create the system, and we may as well copy a known working solution
Yeah.
out there.
there's a wheel out there that looks really nice. We want to look at that wheel.
There's a couple of counties
Well,
that
and
have
I
them.
think the judge was a little nervous, thinking that it would all be remote, but there will be people, like there will be representation from the prosecutor's office and
Exactly.
the public defense, and they didn't realize, I think they thought it was all remote. So I think the issues that they've had, they're definitely,
Well, which kind of goes to the point of, if there's gonna be people there, then why are we doing this?
Well, and yeah, for me, the big thing is that every time we get into one of these things, it's almost like we're the ones trying
but
to
it
figure
might
out the
not
court's
be their
operations.
attorney. Yeah, I mean, but somebody from the Office of Public Defense will be there, but it may
Right.
not be their public defender.
Right.
Sometimes they're bounced between.
Well, which kind of goes back to the whole point of, there is a physical presence in the courtroom, the person to run papers. If that's the thing, then that's the thing. So, and they said it's gonna be very rare. It's gonna be very rare.
Well, if they can walk down the hall and get copies made, that's
Yeah.
what they should be doing.
If you can rarely walk down the hall to get a piece of paper, then rarely walk down the hall to get a piece of paper.
Get steps in.
It was good that that meeting was had though, because there were questions asked that weren't put into the emails and better communication, I think.
It's good, good.
All righty, so that's that. The maintenance window for the data center power improvement. I sent out the email, I got replies, and there was some concerns about failover for internet, and so we addressed those. I went ahead and I got failover internet for the fairgrounds, for the Ardell and the Hardwood. I called Steve and had him light basin networking ports so that we could plumb those in as a failover, and tested and worked. The one at the landfill worked for just pure internet, but it didn't work for the card reader. So I'm gonna get a static IP from Steve. It's a condition called double natting, where you have a NAT, network address translation occurrence in the on-prem, and then his network has a network address translation occurrence. So that's a double NAT. And the point of sale credit card reader can't make it out past that and come back. It fails for whatever reason. So he's gonna give us a static IP for the secondary failover internet, so then it's just a single layer, and we'll test to make sure that that works. So, and this will just be good for the the landfill in general. So like if we have any kind of a network issue on our end, then Steve's network should pick it up and continue for them. Luke was like, yeah, they had like a line of cars that like went back to the landfill in like 10 minutes. He goes, that was Friday. So,
We don't want that.
we don't want that. And their concern is loud and clear and legit and heard, and we're trying to address it. So,
Some redundancy would be good.
right. I do have a question, and then maybe it's directed to you or the board. So for the fairgrounds and Wi-Fi, traditionally, Wi-Fi for technology services has only ever been a best effort for any facility we've ever had, period. We make our connected or wired connectivity a priority. So like where you plug something in, that has to work, period. We're on a Johnny on the spot to fix it. If it's Wi-Fi, it's Wi-Fi, right? At the fairgrounds, it even went so far as during fair, we decided that we weren't gonna let the public just use Wi-Fi anymore. We passworded the guest Wi-Fi for us to limit use because it was just getting decimated during fair. The question is, has Jim been, what is his expectations of internet at the fairgrounds?
Hasn't said anything.
Has he said anything to you guys? Has he said anything to you? Does he expect that the patrons are using this? Is he charging patrons for this? Because we provide this service free to the fairgrounds or the county. Well, I guess free to everyone, right? The county does. But is there an expectation that I keep Wi-Fi up for the patrons? Now, I will say that there have been a few occasions where a few patrons have said, hey, we have this special request for something. Totally. So Jim gets a hold of us. We work with the patron. We set the thing up. It's a known quantity. I got no problem doing that.
So when you say patrons, are you drawing a distinction between just people walking around and vendors that have rented a space?
Like, yeah, vendor that rents a space. So like when these horse shows happen, right? So these are big dollar events, right? Or when they rent the commercial building or the 4-H building. They had a Counselor Foundation thing where I set up a special Wi-Fi access just for that event.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, I got no problem doing that. We were informed, we knew. So we knew that there was an expectation to keep this running. But if it's for horse events and he just is telling them, well, yeah, you're going to have Wi-Fi, it was going to maybe be down for like an hour. And that he lost it. I mean, he just totally, you can't do that. And I'm like, whoa, slow down. I was like,
Are they doing it for their software so they can run their horse shows?
So-
I think there's a difference between the public
Well,
and
right.
food vendors.
it's a web application and they're taking stats for the times of the event and then they upload it to the thing. But wouldn't cellular be a good enough connectivity medium in the interim for
Well,
that?
I think
cellular.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I think we need to have a conversation with Jim and set expectations because
Right.
we've always provided Wi-Fi as it's nice to have.
Yeah.
But
it's
Jim
nice.
is looking at it as we have to have Wi-Fi for everybody all the time.
Right.
And I don't think there's ever been a discussion about what a requirement is because it's
Right.
not a policy.
And
So,
I mean, I'm not trying to poo-poo the whole thing and be difficult here. I
no,
just,
but there's money and infrastructure.
right. I mean, there's effort that has to go on our part. And if it's a weekend thing, he goes, Saturday's my biggest day. He goes, I have 270 some odd events a year, Joe. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. That's your world, dude.
Well,
I mean, I provide you network and
And nowhere has it ever been stated that we're required to provide Wi-Fi for the entire fairgrounds for every day of the year for everything going on there. It's never been a thing.
right.
So
So
that's what I mean. We should have a sit down with Jim
Yeah.
and say, Jim,
and I'm not trying to jab him in the neck or nothing. I get that he wants to provide a good service for the people that are using the facility. Totally get that. And it makes us look good. It makes the county look good. I just want to know what we're on the hook for.
Well,
No, it's
and-
password protected
Right.
previously, so I don't know when that transition, maybe when Jim
Yeah.
came on board. But I do feel that if we have it available, it should be available for the vendors. You
Yeah.
know, if for some reason, if they have a lot of cell coverage going on, that they can't do their transactions, but Rob can probably help me out with that one. But as far as giving everybody access, free access, I don't think that's something.
Well, because I asked him, I said, so like, well, he goes, well, I give the password to everyone that comes out here. Well, dude, that was kind of like the whole point of like,
Why we have a password.
right. And I know we've been using the same structure. We change it quarterly and we've been using the same ones for several years now. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to hack that, I guess, if you've been around. But I don't know. I mean, again, I want to be cooperative. I want to be helpful. I want us to look good and I want to do the right thing. I was unaware that this was such a big thing for him. He seemed super concerned about it and I just want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. So,
yeah, well, let's talk to him.
okay.
Yeah, I think it would probably be a good idea to sit down and have a conversation with Jim.
Yeah.
To make sure that you're both on the same page for one. And
Yeah.
personally, I don't think Wi-Fi needs to be available to everybody that walks onto the fairgrounds.
Well, and that's why we passworded, because we didn't want like loiterers, people just coming on to just hook up whenever. That was part of it, but if he's handing the password out to like every vendor that shows up
Well, and every camper.
and every camper and it's like,
Most phones you can tether to your phone, so
Yeah.
you don't,
Right.
you don't need it. That's
Right.
my opinion. Technology's come a long way.
and when I suggested, well, it'll be like 45 minutes to an hour that they'll need cellular. And he was very upset, and I want to make sure I'm not in the wrong here, so.
We'll follow it up.
So I'm gonna just quickly ask Rob. Rob, do you count on the internet at the fairgrounds during the week of fair, if you're a vendor?
Kind of shades of gray, right? Like, I don't look at myself as a big operator, but I'm not small, right? You know, I do a lot of money a year, and I don't rely on anyone to transition my payments to my account.
Right.
So I roll Starlink everywhere I go because $165 a month, multiply 3 of them, is cheaper than 10 decline cards on $40 orders. But I'm big.
Right.
If I only did 100,000 in a year and I'm at your fair and you're requiring me to use a Clover device, you should probably supply the internet to that Clover device.
And I agree with that. If it's a vendor, right, you're coming to our fair to do business, I don't have an issue with that at all. It's having it available to everybody who walks through the gate.
The fairgrounds internet for payments isn't stable enough.
No, it's not.
Is what I would say.
Yeah.
Is because I did try to use it one year
That's
because
good feedback.
I didn't have enough devices and I couldn't run. So then I was running offline, and you run offline, it's,
Right.
you know,
That's good feedback, though. That's
you don't
good
know what
feedback.
you're gonna get.
And-
Thank you, Rob. Yeah, I didn't want to put you on the spot.
And the horse events, it sounds like they're paying tens of thousands of dollars for the arenas per event, right? So if they have their people that are showing up for the event to pay the people that are renting the facility for the event, and they hit multiple facilities in the state, so you're talking tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars for that particular entity to do that. What's their failover? Are they just expecting every facility they go to provide them connectivity?
Well,
or-
and again, we're getting into a whole lot of what ifs.
Yeah.
You know, so the thing we need to
Can we
do is sit
do-
down and talk to Jim about the expectation of what Wi-Fi is for.
Can we do a password for a different event, like
We
it's
could.
a horse show,
Yeah.
April 2025, you know, you just play, this is your password, so it's only.
Or if we
good
just
for
know the
weekend,
big ones that
and then-
we really got to pay attention to, that'd be fine. I just want to make sure that if we're doing it, we're doing it for the right, so.
Yeah, is it possible to have just a Wi-Fi or a router for just vendors? Nobody else, just vendors?
Are they going to the Clover Leaf or whatever it is this year?
Just get pushed out to everybody.
Yeah, that part doesn't really matter. I mean, if we got 1 or 3, I mean, if we can restrict the system, we can restrict it down to just making it sure, so. But we'll figure it
More
out.
to come.
Yep,
But-
more to come. Unify expansion into the Law and Justice Building. So, we've done the courthouse, the annex, and now we're starting in more earnest on the Law and Justice. We've got, the clerk's office is finally cut over, and the courtrooms for Superior Court have been cut over to Unify. We're gonna be making arrangements with Crystal to move over the Superior Court offices and the judges' chambers next. And then after them, we're gonna start work on maintenance and the prosecutor's office, because they're kind of tied together for their pathing through the building. And then after that, the sheriff's, and then portions of the jail. And then we should be all unified throughout the facility here and hunky-dory. And then I got some traffic stats, 55,000 emails this last week, 6,000 blocked and quarantined, no viruses detected, which was good. On web and email, 1.1K websites accessed out of 24 million blocks. 12 were categorized as security related, and the move for youth services, Ricky ended up running a whole bunch of data cable, and maintenance helped him with that, and so they were over there banging it out together, and that was really cool. And then I believe Alex went over and helped get the system set up and all that stuff, so that went well, I think, from what everyone said. And the clerk's cut over went really well too. We got the printers done, and there were no concerns or calls. And
very quickly this morning, I had a meeting with Justin Lopez at Tyler about different projects we have going on for cyber. So
Yeah.
I got to get you guys up to speed on that. So.
okay. And if you want to get your stats there.
Just real quick, we last week was actually a not so heavy ticket week. They're down about 25% than usual. Alex and Seth and Evan remain on top with the most tickets. Once again, HR has been the top submitter, which is great. We love to see that because that's communication. And then continued work with the Tyler ERP system on my behalf. And I've been continuing to work with Blair on getting his Laserfish environment set up. Got his workflows set up for auto filing for his claims files and stuff. And then a personal brag on myself. Last week, on my own time, I finished the training and I achieved my Laserfish records management certification.
Sweet dude.
So,
Congratulations.
yeah,
Great.
more to come on that.
Any questions for GCTS?
Sorry for going long.
Well, yes, I have more questions on the fairgrounds and things like that,
Yeah.
so, yeah, give it a little
Yeah.
more thought.
Again, I'm not jabbing Jim in the neck or anything.
So, Robert, we required it this year, the clover.
Mhm.
So if we're requiring them to do something, we need to make sure
Requiring
we have.
everybody to use
Well,
electronic devices to.
and I think the difference here is recognizing that, having Wi-Fi available for vendors is one thing, but if you're gonna, we don't know if he is, I'm assuming he's giving it out to all the campers and everybody that
I
comes.
would
to the
think
gate,
so,
and
yeah.
That's what we need to.
It is, it's given out
I would
to
think it would
everybody.
be a little more important that the vendors have access to make their transactions versus.
That was kind of our feeling that that's how it was being done, was the vendors were
Yeah.
getting, those kinds of things, not just to everybody.
Because there's some significant cost and,
Well,
I mean, it's already robust Wi-Fi.
Fairly, I mean,
So,
but if you're talking about for fair, if we have to saturate the midway, we got a lot of work to do, like between now and then. That's like, I don't know that we'll be able to accomplish that. I want to set expectations now.
well, yeah, we'd have to budget that.
We always tried to use it and it just never worked. So then we started running hotspots like Clovers have built-in LTE chips, but that's $35 a device.
Okay.
I sit on 16 of them.
Well,
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Then we went to hotspots because T-Mobile, you can get, 4 to 6, 8 of them for $40 a month. The problem is when you get that many people into your spot, then you have no signal.
Yep.
And for us, if you have 5 booths at a fair and you're down for an hour, you might have received $500 in declined payments on just Thursday night. And then on Friday night, then Saturday night, then Sunday night. So you're $2,000 in lost sales by declined cards. Because once they know that thing goes through, guess what? They're going to jump back in line, hit it one more time, right? Because that's what they do.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
And the cell tower's right there on the Moses Lake water tower, so that thing gets just hammered during a fair. You're talking like 6,000 to 10,000 people, that's a lot of traffic. And we can barely keep up with the Wi-Fi in just for our people and patrons that we're trying to give it to, let alone, that's why cellular traffic has to make up the difference, and we know it can't. These are kind of one-off things that just saturate the area, and I don't know how we accomplish certain things here, so that's a big ask. Yeah.
One cool thing I will just shout out on the Starlink is that, for like any of you guys, is that it covers a big area.
Right.
So like you put the thing on, like I put it on my trailer in the middle of a show, and then my booths 100 feet away are able to grab that signal somehow. I don't know how, because you can't with a hotspot.
Yeah.
But with the Starlink, it has a pretty good net.
Probably a more higher power radio and a bigger antenna.
Some private Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
That's how you
Yeah.
communicate to the Starlink.
Well, and you've got a
Wi-Fi is not really
Much
that
bigger
hard.
cone from,
Yeah.
5 miles up.
Yeah, and well,
100 feet up. So,
well, just the device going up too, getting that height helps get the propagation out there.
yeah.
A lot of people, they get like a hotspot, like on their phone or like a small cellular device. It'll just be sitting on a table or under a table or something in their space. It's not gonna propagate out. If
Yeah.
you put in that setup, yeah, it gets out better.
So I don't know, I was just like,
Yeah, that clear view of the sky does wonders.
Line of sight's wonderful.
The only thing that you would have to worry about at that point is potential interference from other radios. So if other vendors start doing the same thing, then you could.
yeah, I'm not advertising.
Right, but you could potentially get interference from other people's Wi-Fi, even our own Wi-Fi equipment.
Yeah, what I
So-
noticed was that, like, maybe somebody had one in the area, because then it wouldn't allow mine to activate. And now I'm like, okay, this is,
So now T-Mobile is also, they're in beta right now for Starlink. So
yeah, I run all T-Mobile hotspots, we have 8 of them, then I have 3 of those, and
So now so the caveat though is if you're on their highest speed data plan, the 5G Go Next, then the Starlink capability is automatically added to your plan, but you have to be out of T-Mobile signal. You gotta be on top of a mountain somewhere for it to activate, so you can't just use it.
That's pretty cool.
All right. That's it.
All right, cool. Well, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
we'll go into recess until 10:45 when we're back for a work session. Good morning, it's 10:48 a.m. and we are here for a commissioner work session. I don't think had any items. You have an item you'd like to discuss?
A couple of items. One's a real estate transaction. The other has to do with personnel. If the board wouldn't mind going into executive session to discuss those two things.
You say what the second one was again?
Personnel.
So we have to do 2 separates.
Oh, okay.
You want to do real estate first?
Sure. Yeah, and it's gonna take maybe 5 minutes, not even that.
So we'll go into executive session for 5 minutes, coming out at 10:54 a.m. for real estate acquisition or sale.
Sale.
Sale, RCW 42.30.1101C. It is 10:59 and you're out of executive session. Thank you.
Did you get your new
I
hat?
have this pile right here. I forgot to give you 2. Those are probably my 2 from yesterday. Rob will have 2 or 3.
I had my headset on, it was really weird hearing you guys both here and in my ear. It was a wild experience just now.
Well, I'm glad we can provide something wild for you.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Tom. So did you get your questions answered?
I think so.
Went from 2 to 5.
What's that?
We went from 2 to 5.
Yeah. Are you?
Good, how are you?
Not so bad.
Department head review.
Yes, that is what I am here for.
We're gonna look and see who- This is the only way we
Laura.
know.
Yeah, who is it?
I mean, you're here, so.
It's somebody who is CC that's not here, that's usually what it means. I got the right WebEx.
Hey, miss.
Oh,
Nice catch.
thanks.
Oh, my back hurts. Whew. Okay. Well, I never muted ourselves, so. Yeah. Okay, it is 11 a.m. and we have a department head review with Human Resources. We will go into executive session for evaluation, RCW 42.30.1101G for beginning with 15 minutes. Coming out at 11:15. We're going to continue executive session for 10 more minutes, coming out at 11:25. We're going to extend executive session 5 more minutes till 11:30.
Sounds great.
We are out of executive session.
Of course.
Was that your first time?
Technically, no. I had to do it last year. Same reason. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, just went in the restaurant.
Hey, Kevin.
Yep.
You guys are-
See ya.
I think he just got, I don't think he has a computer.
Historical research.
Your printer working, Kevin?
Maybe change this. What's that?
Your printer working?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna
Like,
send you.
email you something, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, mine don't work.
You need a bigger hammer.
No. It did some changes a while back, a few months ago, and it's just not ever worked since then.
I'm gonna take advantage of it. Are we waiting on somebody?
Yeah, he'll be back in just a sec. He's just ran to the restroom.
Okay, I'm gonna. Joy for joy. I'm gonna take a breather.
I'd be an HR violation.
How's it going?
Martin, Ben, how are you?
It's open. Good.
Yeah.
Rob, nice to meet you.
You as well?
Kevin, good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
I
Cindy
shook
just,
your guys' hands. I won't make you do it again.
Cindy just went to use the restroom. So.
Am I in this thing?
Yeah.
So,
Good to see you.
all right.
There's two cameras.
All right. So I was told this is a visual thing, right? So as humans, success is seen as up to the right, right? You know, on a graph like the Dow. So when you're presenting, if I want to project success, I have to go like this because it's reversed. So there you go. That's the tip of the day. If you guys ever find yourself on an economic broadcasting show,
Do you need an HDMI cable?
if I could get a, I think that's what I need, but I don't have the HDMI in this computer. I only have,
Oh, you don't.
so I can email this presentation to you, Kevin, since I've emailed you before.
You could also log into the meeting
Oh.
on your screen.
Oh, perfect. That's great. Look at that technology, guys.
Somebody will have to promote you.
Yeah, it's gotta be
You
Caitlin.
don't have HDMI?
You have to dig it into the HDMI, so that'd have to be Caitlin.
I don't have my backpack either.
If I can remote in, that's perfectly
Yeah.
fine.
You can remote in and
Wait a
then,
minute. You have USB-C?
yeah, it's USB-C.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Oh, toggle. Look at that. Thank you, sir.
It works on mine. We'll see if it works on yours.
So then when you share it, it goes to, I believe, that screen right there.
Okay.
Yep. Yep, there you go. You're up.
All right.
Hello, Kevin.
Hello.
Are we ready to go?
I want to come up.
I haven't shared it. All right, good morning. It's 11:35 a.m. and we are here for our historical research
Thank you.
discussion about the Fredo landfill. Thank you. Ben, will you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Ben Pariser. I am an owner of Historical Research. We're an insurance archaeology and management firm. We're headquartered out of Indiana. I'm here in Washington and Mercer Island. And we assist property owners, whether they be public, like Grant County, or private, as in businesses, find old insurance policies to clean up contamination. And I'm happy to be here today.
Thank you.
So I am here because I accosted Kevin at a conference last November, and we started talking. And one thing led to another. Kevin introduced me to Andy Booth, their Public Works Director. And we talked specifically about the Ephrata landfill. And I have a belief that there are old insurance policies that can be utilized to do two things for Grant County. One, repay all of the past costs associated with the landfill that were necessary and reasonable. And two, fund any current or future costs associated with the environmental liability at the landfill. And that's why I'm here today. There were questions that were brought up as to whether or not this was something that was possible. And I'm here hopefully to provide information and answer questions. So that's the purpose of me being here. I have this presentation because we're visual type people, and this is sometimes a difficult concept to get across. So I'm going to go through this, and you guys are welcome to stop me at any point, and questions are welcome. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Most important thing you know is I was about a C+ student. I did not get a law degree, so I'm not going to give you guys legal advice, and you are not hiring me to be your attorney. This is on the record, hopefully. So there you go. This is one of our clients. This was a asphalt batch plant in King County, and they started operating in the late 30s. And they were told to shut down this facility in 2005 because it was threatening the local water source. They embarked on a remediation that took them about 5 years. They hired Restorical about 6 years later. We went out and we found all of the old insurance policies for this corporation, and we were successful in getting them back all of the money they had spent cleaning up their contamination. And this was done without litigation. And again, this was done 6 years after they cleaned up the site. How do we do this? We did this because we were able to use old general liability insurance policies. The general liability policy was created in the 1940s by the insurance industry. And they created this policy because it used to be very difficult as a property owner to buy insurance. You used to have to go to your broker and you'd say, I'd like to buy insurance on my property. And he'd say, well, what are you trying to insure against? And you'd say, well, I'm trying to insure against wind damage. And they would write you a manuscript policy for wind damage for your property. And it was very difficult to sell insurance to business owners and property owners on this manuscript basis. So the insurance industry got together and they said, let's create this general liability policy. And they did it because they wanted to sell lots of policies to new clients. They were not selling a lot of property policies. And they decided they were going to target business and property owners. And the way they were able to do this is they said, instead of getting a manuscript policy where you're just insuring against one specific item, we're going to sell to you broad coverage for general liability. And it's going to be specifically for unforeseen or not specifically defined risks at the time of purchase. What does that mean? That means that we're selling this to you, and it's going to be on an occurrence basis, which means that you have more than the calendar year to tender this claim. And if in the future you are being told that you're liable for something that happened during this policy period, we, the insurance company, will come to your rescue. So that's exactly what these policies were intended for. They were sold to business owners and property owners with the idea that there could be liability here that we don't yet know about. And we will be here, because this is a contract, to protect you. And they sold these things like hotcakes. Every property owner in America bought these policies in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, all the way through present day. In 1969, the Cuyahoga River lit on fire for the 13th time approximately in 80 years. The pictures on the left and in the middle are from 1969. The political cartoon on the right is from 1965. It was a known secret that all the petrochemical companies upriver from the Cuyahoga were just dumping their waste into the river, and every now and then a spark would hit this and it would light a fire. This was a galvanizing moment, and about 4 months later, Richard Nixon wrote into law creating the EPA. 42 days later, here in Washington, the state of Washington adopted and created the Department of Ecology. In 1970, the Fortune 5,000 companies of America got demand letters from the EPA, and here in Washington from the EPA and Ecology, saying, go clean up your contamination. These companies went to their attorneys, and the attorneys said, we bought these slip and fall policies, these general liability policies, and they have a section in them for property damage where we can tender these claims. This is a claim of property damage. Let's go tender this claim. And so that's exactly what they did. Any questions on why they went to that policy? All right. The carriers denied coverage. They said, you're crazy. The EPA was just created. This is not what this was intended for. And every state in the United States, the Supreme Court heard these arguments, and they told the carriers, sorry, you have to pay these bills. You have to pay these bills because there's no pollution exclusion. So right there in 1970, the insurance industry kind of lost their minds, and they created the ISO, the Insurance Services Organization. Nowadays, when you buy an insurance policy, it says ISO form, blah, blah, blah on the bottom. This was the creation of the ISO. So just like in banking documents where, Laser Pro produces standardized, purchase and sale and deeds, the ISO, the Insurance Services Organization, creates standardized policies. The very first thing that they were told to do is, after the insurance industry lost this lawsuit against these corporations in all 50 states at the state Supreme Court level and said that you have to have an exclusion, is they created this exclusion. This is the very first pollution exclusion that was put into the insurance policies. I've copied it here word for word. I've added the color red and increased the word but for effect. What this basically says is, well, we're not going to pay for anything. We don't care where it comes from. We don't care where it goes. But this exclusion does not apply if such discharge, dispersal, release, or escape is sudden and accidental. I remember Schoolhouse Rocks as a kid. I'm assuming some of you guys remember Schoolhouse Rocks, conjunction function, not this, but that. When you use but in a sentence, you're pretty much saying everything before the but doesn't make sense, it's not holding water, it's just what you want to read after but. And what it basically says, and the Supreme Court of Washington agreed, is that this exclusion was written badly, and the author of this exclusion was the insurance company. And the vagueness in this exclusion, because the word sudden and accidental was never defined, this exclusion was deemed ineffective in the state of Washington. It's also deemed ineffective in 13 other states. Those 14 states have something in common with Washington. These are manufacturing and industrial states. Washington's economy today might be tied to Microsoft and Amazon and things like that, but in the 70s, the economy was logging, Weyerhaeuser, aerospace, Boeing, trucking, PACCAR. So PACCAR, Weyerhaeuser, and Boeing sued the living daylights out of these insurance companies under that old exclusion. It's estimated they spent about $500 million on legal fees suing insurance companies that old exclusion that went into the policy in 1972 was written badly. The Supreme Court of Washington agreed. And to this day, you can use insurance policies written before 1985. The policies that are written after 1985 have something that we refer to as the absolute pollution exclusion, and you can't use these policies. Any questions on the use of these old policies so far. All right. This is another one of our case study examples. This is a affordable housing project in Seattle. Our client purchased a dry cleaner. We went out and we found the insurance policies that insured this dry cleaner from 40 years ago. The seller was not the policyholder. The seller was someone that owned this property 3 transactions earlier. We found the policies. We asked them if we could use their policies. They said yes. They signed something called an assignment of claims. And then our client, the nonprofit Mount Baker Housing, was able to step into the shoes of the policyholder, and they were able to build this amazing building. And we were able to get from those insurance carriers several millions of dollars to fund the cleanup of that dry cleaner. The reason why this worked, and this is a graph explaining that case study, this dry cleaner began in 1950. From the day that it began, it started contaminating the ground and the groundwater, because the standard of care for a dry cleaner was just take your chemicals and dump them out the back door. No one was being negligent. No one knew that this was going to hurt the environment. That's what every dry cleaner in America did. And they did this continuously and ongoing, every day, year in and year out, all the way through the late 1980s when the EPA said, please stop doing that. It's not good for the environment. Here on this site, it started in 1950. It continued ongoing through the policy period of the prior owner whose insurance we found. They owned the property from 1979 to 1983. We found those policies, and those policies were triggered because that pollution occurred prior to and during the policy's placement. So again, these are occurrence policies. Our job when we're tendering claims is to show to the carrier that the contamination occurred during the policy period. And that's how we can trigger the policy, and that's how we can, in good faith, ask these carriers to pay for, in this case, the cleanup of the dry cleaning. Even though, as you'll see in this graph, even though the contamination occurred continuously after this period, right? So the pollution starts here, and it's polluting, policy period, still polluting. They took out the old system, put in a new system. It's still polluted for 10 more years, and then the building was taken down. These policies had to pay for not just the pollution that occurred during this policy period. They had to pay for up to their policy limits for all of the contamination. So we use these policies like we did here for the dry cleaner. We use them for landfills and car washes and universities and fire stations. And this is the reason why. One of our clients is the City of Olympia. We've worked with them since 2013-ish. I think we've worked on 9 different projects. This is one of the projects. This is the City of Olympia's West Olympia landfill. This was a landfill from the 40s through the 60s. They went to sell the property in 1985. And at that time, that's when they discovered the contamination. When we had met them, they had already tried to find their policies. They couldn't. Luckily, they hired us. We found their policies. We got insurance to pay them back all the money they'd spent on this landfill up to that date. And then they were able to negotiate an agreed order with the state, and they were able to get a settlement from the carrier for that amount of money so that they could sell this property. When they sell this property to a developer, the developer can then use that money to implement the cap, which has been outlined in the agreed order. Why are we here? We are here because we believe that you can do the same thing on the Ephrata landfill. And I'm happy to discuss this in great detail. These are key dates. These dates were taken from the 2006 agreed order that Grant County and the City of Ephrata entered into against the Department of Ecology. An agreed order is a lawsuit. It's a friendly lawsuit, but it's still a lawsuit. And in the agreed order, they have these dates. So these are facts, at least in the eyes of the state of Washington. And in 1942, the City of Ephrata owned and managed the landfill up until 1974, when Grant County began managing and operating the landfill. Grant County at this time leased the landfill from the city, and they operated it. And that was continuing all the way through 1986. And in 1986, the EPA conducted an investigation which led to all of the remediation and capping and monitoring that's happened from 1986 to present day. In 1994, the city eventually deeded over this property to the county. The insurance policies that the county purchased, these general liability insurance policies, are likely to be able to cover, at the very least, all of the liability from 1974 through the inception of the absolute. Theoretically, if the county was putting material into this landfill in 1942, you could trigger policies from 1942 through 1985 when that pollution exclusion was exchanged. Any questions on anything on this screen? It does not matter, and again, I'm not an attorney, so I'm telling you from experience doing this a couple thousand times, it does not matter that Grant County didn't own the landfill in 1974. Because Grant County was the operator of the landfill. So the federal law and the state law are very clear that if you're the owner or the operator, you're joint and severally liable for this contamination. And that, I'm assuming, is the thought process that went into the agreed order when the agreed order was signed. So because the county has that liability, it is my company's belief that you can use these old insurance policies and you can say to these insurance companies, in good faith, we'd like you to provide coverage and we'd like you to pay us back for all the money we had to spend out here. The city of Hoquiam is one of our clients. There was skepticism, which is totally understandable, from Andy Booth and from Kevin. And I said you should reach out to Brian. Brian Shea is the city administrator. We've worked with him for 4 years. And Brian was kind enough to email the group his thoughts. And then following this email, he had a conversation, I believe, with Andy. I'm not sure if Kevin was there as well. But he basically said that we were very skeptical. We had no idea this was going to work, but we figured, why not? It's a good Hail Mary. We're happy that we did. We recouped over $1 million previously spent, and this is on their landfill, and they're continuing to get reimbursement for annual testing, monitoring, and permit conditions. So I printed it out if you wanted to see it, just because you can see the email that I sent him. There's that. That's a testimony. We appreciate Brian. Insurance policies. What are the benefits and advantages for Grant County? Each of these policies is joint and severally liable for the full extent of the liability. That means that if we find primary policies, that first layer, you can trigger those. If we find umbrella policies, and you need the money, you can go into those. If you find excess policies and you need that money, you can go into those. So at least from 1974, potentially back to 1942, but at least from 1974 to 1985, Grant County has the opportunity to find these policies and to make good faith claims to ask these carriers to pay them back for their expenses and future expenses. These policies do not expire. These are occurrence policies, as explained earlier. The intention of these policies was to sell them to property owners like Grant County, like the City of Ephrata, and be there to protect them if a liability arose in the future they did not know about. There's no statute of limitations. Most of these policies do not have a deductible. So, there's no deductibles. Sometimes there are deductibles. If there are deductibles, we've seen them be a self-insured retention of some type, maybe $50,000, $100,000, $500,000. I think the expenses that Grant County has out here eclipse $500,000. So you'd basically be saying, to the insurance company, please pay us back this amount of money. And if there's a self-insured retention, you would take that off of what you're expecting them to pay you. This is a viable source of funding and recovery. So my company, our business, we do this. We work on about 130 or so projects in a year. We've done about 2,000 of these over the past 20 plus years. And we have lots of projects here in Washington. And there's no guarantee, of course. We have been very successful in doing this successfully without litigation. These are some of the reasons why Grant County would probably not want to pursue their old insurance policies. I know this is like cheeky and kind of funny, but literally there's no reason why Grant County shouldn't do this. What makes my company different? We like to refer to it as our three uniques. There's no conflict. We only work for policy and property owners. So we are the only company that does this in America that does not work for insurance companies. If you Google the term insurance archaeology, all those other firms, they either work for insurance companies or they're owned by insurance companies. Our company is independent, and it's the only one like that in America. There's no risk. We're the only one that works under a contingency fee. So if we fail miserably, the county never has to pay us. And then number three, we are the only one that will find the policies, advise on the use of those policies, and then use those policies. This is our proven process. This is how we go about helping all of our clients. We have a 6-step process. The first 3 steps is to do a research project and tell you yes or no. We think this will work. If we think yes, and you guys are interested, then we will proceed by working with the city's chosen insurance coverage attorney. If you guys have an insurance coverage attorney, be happy to work with them. If you do not, we will happily introduce you to insurance coverage attorneys that we work with, that we know can do this work successfully and are able to do that without litigation. Once you hire an attorney, we will give them all of our information and we will ask them to give you, our client, their written legal opinion. Hopefully with their written legal opinion, they will agree with us, but if not, they will tell you, run for the hills, they're crazy, you can't do this. But if they agree with us, that's what they'll tell you. And then you guys are able to make an informed decision. Our contract, which Kevin and Andy has seen, I think Blair has seen, it's very clear. The only person who makes a decision, the only entity that can make a decision to make a claim is the county. So if you decide even at this point, hey, thank you so much, we got the attorney's opinion, they said it would work, we know you said it would work, but we're not interested, we don't want to do it, you have that right. I cannot force you to make a claim. If you decide you don't want to make a claim, we part as friends. If you decide you do want to make a claim, our company does all of the non-legal work. We will go and we will find all the old invoices so that you can recover those costs. This is a letter of reference from Mount Baker Housing. That was the dry cleaner that I showed you. I'm sharing that with you because they were kind enough to explain the services our company does after we find the policies. One of them is our forensic accounting side, where we go and we identify all of the necessary and reasonable costs to get a recovery for the county. And that's what we do. That's one of the items. We are going to manage the claims process, and we're going to work with your attorney. You guys, again, make all the decisions. We will keep you informed. But this is not going to become a burden to the county. We are not going to be asking the county to be doing any of this, the county to do any of this management of the process. We just need to, have regularly scheduled phone calls that last about 15, 20 minutes at a time, and that's about it. When a decision has to be made, like whether or not you guys want to accept money from the insurance company, what normally happens typically is that we would come to the council, we would present to you what's on the table, we would discuss it, and you guys would make a decision how you want to proceed. And that's really the presentation. I'm happy to answer questions. I know that there was skepticism, which is healthy, and I understand it. And I'm happy to go over any of that.
Do you want to explain the fees to everybody else too?
What's your contingency fee?
Sure. So for task 1, we charge $100. So we're charging $100 to do our research, go out and find these policies, do a trigger analysis, determine if we can actually do the things that we believe we can do, which is use these policies to recover the county's costs. In addition to the $100, we charge $600 because we're going to ask the title company to pull title documents on the landfill so that we can confirm dates and use these for a future potential claim. So for $700, in approximately 4 months' time, we will give the county a yes or no as to whether or not we think that we can do what we say we can do. If the county wants to proceed, as explained earlier, we would have you hire an attorney. If the attorney says it's something that would work and you approve, we would help the attorney. Our company only gets paid if there's success, and success is defined by getting money from the insurance companies. So we get paid 10% of any monies that the insurance company repays to the county or pays currently or in the future for the liability. And then we're working with the county throughout this process. So we're not just handing you a bunch of policies and, a stick diagram saying this is how you should do it and walking away and checking in. We're with you guys managing this entire process. Cindy, do you have any questions?
I do not have any questions. Yeah, it was pretty engaging there. I mean, I had no idea that this existed, so thank you for your recap on
Absolutely.
this recovery.
Rob, do you have any questions?
No, I like it. Kevin, did you hear anything of a reason we wouldn't look into this?
No, I can kind of give you the background of what we have already done. We have a coverage attorney already that we work with Leslie. And Leslie says she's gone through everything, but this doesn't sound like a real high risk proposition. If if he doesn't find what Leslie hasn't already found, then we're out, what, $700-800?
$700.
Yeah, so it's not that big of a deal. So I don't really hear anything that, sounds high risk at this point.
High risk?
I don't hear anything that sounds high risk. So yeah, it sounds fairly low risk at this point, as far as I can tell.
I personally think for $700, I think we wasted $700 on other things that are foolish. That if there is some money to be recovered, I think.
Can you send me the contract that you want?
Yeah, I can email it to you.
And then we would just put it on consent agenda.
Yeah, I'd like to look it over.
Okay.
I think I have it.
Barbara, Rebecca, look it over.
I can email it to you. It's a Word document, and if you have any edits, you can make the edits. I shared it with Kevin, and I shared it with Andy. I'm not sure if, I thought that they had shared it with someone in your office and there were no edits, but maybe not.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
You just want to forward it back to me and I can get it to Kevin.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
Sure.
I can go to Barbara too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just forward it to me since you have my email.
I do, yeah.
Oh, you know what? I think it's in my Yahoo account. It's not on my county. It started back in November.
Sure. That's easy. I'm happy to send it over. Again, it's a Word document, so just turn on tracking if there's something you want to discuss. And
Sure.
We'd welcome the opportunity to help the county. Past performance is no guarantee for future work. Lots of our clients have tried this before, and we were able to find these policies that were unfindable, just like in the example of City of Olympia.
The other question I would have also is the previous landfill we have along I-90, the frontage road. Is there anything that's concerning on that side as well?
Not that I've heard of, but it's a landfill. There are always possibilities.
I think if we're
There's another one too.
in the one up in Grand Coulee.
No, doing my Rose City.
Okay.
It's a big open county. You could probably put,
Yeah,
way back when, you could probably put a landfill wherever.
Nobody's on.
I didn't know that there was.
Oh, we just opened Pandora's box now.
So
No, there's definitely,
there's potential for 3 of them.
yes.
Well, the idea here is, first we want to find the policies, and then if we're able to find the policies, we can address whether or not those policies apply to some, all, or none of those additional sites.
Sure.
While we're all here, this is what I sent to Kevin and Andy, and I'll email to Blair, and Blair can share it with you. I don't know, do you need to share this again, Rob? Thank you. So this is the contract we sent. It's a Word document, like I said, and it's
Okay,
contingency fee agreement.
just flat out tell you, nothing is privileged and confidential in Washington government work.
100%. The privilege and confidential is tying into a paragraph below that says that we're being hired under the extent of the allowable law,
Okay.
and that the work we do is confidential under the extent. So scope of services is to go out and try and find these documents to do a cost recovery assistance. These are the things that we do, A, B, and C, such as finding the policies, working with you, managing the flow of information with consultants, attorneys, reviewing invoices, and performing those investigations. The things that we do not do, we are not the consultant, we don't do the cleanup, we're not your attorney, we won't do legal services. And then compensation, we charge $100, as said earlier, to do that task one, steps 1, 2, 3, find the policies, provide you our strategy, give you our recommendations. Task 2, and this is what's important, I think, for you to see, is that it is the client in its sole discretion. So there's nothing in this contract that obligates the county to proceed with the claim. You guys are the only ones that decide, and if you don't want to do it, there's nothing in this contract that claws back and so on and so forth. You made us do all this work. It costs us a lot of money. You're not going through with the claim. You have to pay us. There's nothing like that. We work for 10% of recovery, and we only get paid as defined in the recovery below. This paragraph here is saying that if you decide not to proceed, that's totally fine. But if you don't proceed, you won't take our intellectual property and do this without us helping you, is what this paragraph says.
I'm going to point out, we are actually in the lunch hour. We probably have a couple people that may want to leave,
Oh,
so they can get back to.
I'll be done right here real quick.
Okay.
The definition of recovery, and you can review this, it's only money that comes to you or inures to your benefit to your consultant. This is the confidentiality clause, which you'll be interested in reading, and it basically just says that we can't share any information with anybody without you guys giving us that. And then this expense is just $600 for the title documents, and that's it. That's the contract. So I will get this off to Blair. Blair will get it to you, and typically it takes about a week or so to get comments. Does that seem?
Week or two, yeah.
All right. So once we get those, what is the process for the county? Is that the consent?
The prosecutor attorney's office will review the contract, and then when it's reviewed, and then it'll go on our consent agenda for the board to make a decision.
Great.
So you'll actually send it to Blair, it sounds like?
A couple weeks at the most.
Okay. So I'm putting it out there. I'm happy to come back if you guys want me to come back. If you need me to talk about this again, or there's other people that would like to hear it from me versus, whatever, I'm happy to join by teams if that's what you'd like either. So I appreciate your time. It was nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Thank you, Kevin, for setting this up. It was good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And then Blair, just if you could, so we can keep everybody in the loop, CC Andy on that, so Andy is aware that we're moving forward on it.
Yep, we'll do.
We're at a meeting on this.
Yep, I'll let them know.
We look forward to working with you.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to recess until 1 p.m. Good afternoon, it is 1 p.m. and we are here for our HR update. We will begin to see if we have any public comment. We have one call-in user. Caitlin, if you would offer the opportunity to comment on the agenda.
Yes, Jim, I've given you the ability to unmute if you have any comment. I will take that as no comment. That is the only call-in user.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item 2. I have an MOU prepared for your signature. It is for Sheriff's Deputy. It's actually an MOA, I apologize. to capture, it's the same MOU that the board has signed for the other bargaining units to capture January 20, the first pay period of January 2025. So it's inclusive of January 1. So that pay period actually goes back into December to roll it over. And it's just for consistency.
There you are, sir.
The second topic I have under labor relations, we'll wait. Andy Booth is going to join us, and that will be an executive session, so we'll hold on that. Skip down to item number 5. I don't have anything in item 3 or 4 today. Item 5, yesterday the board through PMR heard the requests. And Rob, I did bring you the copy. Thank you, Cindy. Copy of the positions from yesterday. Oh, there's Andy.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Have a seat.
We're doing position management first.
So the first position, solid waste labor position, we heard yesterday this position was seasonal. The department has requested that it be changed to a, I did this yesterday too, lost the word.
Project?
Thank you. You did that, you helped me out yesterday when I said that too. Like, the project position, as the person who holds the full-time FTE is out on an extended medical leave. Is the board prepared to decide on this one?
I'm a yes.
Talked about that yesterday. I'm a yes.
Rob?
I don't know.
You have the paperwork from yesterday?
Yeah, I just.
The landfill one?
Yes, solid waste labor.
Just
It
because
was
there's
approved.
somebody out on leave is why they.
Yep, it was approved.
Okay.
Project isn't
In
necessarily
October?
full-time. There's a time period involved in a project.
Yep, it was approved in October for this position for a temp. However, given the medical condition of the person, they'll be out longer than what a seasonal or temporary position can be in, which is the 4 months. So a project person can be in place from a year to maximum of 2 years. And so that's what they're asking for.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Next one is Fairgrounds Summer Aids. Board approved them on 3/11. However, the department is now requesting a $1 increase for the seasonal positions, making the wage up for them, the hourly wage, to $20.25. And for consistency, we ask that if the board makes that decision, that we would have that hourly wage go across the county for non-represented positions. I didn't see an email from her. Is it today? Any questions on that one?
So our part-time employees do not typically get a 3% increase, do they? Like if we have a 8% or a 3% or a 2% COLA?
It depends on if it's a permanent or a seasonal position. If it's a permanent position, that position would get the same increase.
So we're looking at elections when they have an
It's
election
just a
going
flat
on.
rate. That doesn't automatically go
And our
up. It's a
mailroom,
flat rate.
when they come in,
Mhm.
and I don't think they're working at 8 hours, isn't it just like a 6-hour day? or when they come in?
The mail, it's that temporary part, or that part-time position, the 2 mailroom on calls.
And then you may have some seasonals,
We do.
and would you be able to absorb that?
Those are bargain positions.
Oh, so it doesn't impact this?
Does not impact them because they have it's in their bargaining agreement.
So it's
So
basically
it would just be
elections.
elections, mailroom, and fairgrounds.
6 or 8 people.
They're
Yes,
not always
there's 7 in
running.
elections, but they are not full-time FTE, or they're not regular full-time FTEs. They come in when elections happen to count ballots, whereas the fairgrounds seasonals will be active for the full 4 months.
They do not get benefits,
Correct.
no insurance, and I'm okay with an increase.
You asking for my answer?
Yep, we made eye
Same as
contact.
What was that? Yes,
Yes.
oh, yes, heck yes, Rob,
Yeah, I'm good.
Thank you.
so 3 yes.
Trying to read while you go.
Okay, third position was the maintenance 3 out at the fairgrounds. This is under essential services. However, when those, to recap that from yesterday, the maintenance classifications were all reclassified about 2 years ago. This position did not and has not had anybody in it, so it was an oversight to not capture this 3 position. So we want to capture that, reclassify it to the 10, which is what it is through the courthouse contract.
But had there been an employee in that position, they would have moved up, but because there was no employee in that position, it wasn't even.
It
really
yeah,
looked-
it wasn't even
a-
looked at.
I forgot about. Position.
Oh, yes. Correct. Thank you. Yeah.
And we have an employee that is a maintenance 2, and they have done the qualifications to move to a maintenance 3.
Correct.
And since the maintenance 3, they just realized that that position did not get.
And it was in their budget at that band 10. But when we went to look into, or went to review the position, it was still in GP as an 8. So we just need that verification to go forward.
I am a yes.
Okay. Rob, I'm gonna call on you next. I'll let Kevin be the wild card.
I thought you already got my answer yesterday, but.
No, that was a whole meeting.
What was that, Rob?
Said yes.
Thank you.
Yesterday's reviewed, gonna make the official decision in this one.
Yeah.
I didn't change my mind.
Didn't change your
Still
mind,
yes.
so it's approved. Okay. And the last position is the county administrator position. We brought forward for the board's request, the comp reviews for the wage.
Sweet finger.
Like that. That was Dan's handiwork there.
Take a while to get that hand in there.
Very long fingernail on it.
It's kind of funny.
So the starting wage recommendation for that position, it does fall within our band 26.
I'm a yes.
As long as it's in our budget, I'm a yes. Spend money we don't have.
Well, that's not the American attitude.
Well, I know, but I don't have a credit card to pay for it. Now, what the
I'm
rest of the
kidding.
world has, put on a credit card.
Rob? Any questions since?
Which, that's your starting recommendation. Those are, a middle or a high? Or is that the high or?
So this was the mid-range is what we calculate on, which would then fall into our band 26.
I think dependent on experience, the
Yeah.
board could
That's the finger
hire.
in the right hand corner on the bottom.
Yeah, I see that. I just am looking at.
Yes, depending on experience, the
City
board.
manager, assistant city manager, county admin. I'm looking at those.
Okay, and because this is more specialized position, Dan did do some research outside of the state of Washington. I think he pulled some numbers from Oregon and Idaho, thinking that those could be potential markets in which people may apply from. And then, of course, cities which are higher typically than county government. But
Do we have a plan for this? Is it just gonna be open on the normal site, or if we're going to do any recruiting, or?
we haven't gotten that far. We're doing job description, which was the first piece. Second piece was the wage study, which we now have completed. Once we have the approval of that, then we'll move into further discussion on where the board wants to advertise, how they want to advertise.
Okay.
I have 2 yeses. Are you a third?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda, we'll go back up to item 2, labor relations, and I ask for an executive session, please.
How long?
10 minutes.
We'll be going into executive session beginning at 1:13 PM, returning at 1:23 PM for negotiations, RCW 42.30.1404A. We are going to extend executive session 5 more minutes to 1:28 PM. It is 1:28 and we are out of executive session.
Please.
All right, we'll talk to you later about those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you, Andy.
So on the last page, you'll finish up with Andy and
Yep.
give us his recommendation.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, back to item 6. I don't have anything for budget, finance, or compensation. Item 7, recruiting. We currently have 16 positions posted. Recruitment is going well and getting good feedback from the departments and from candidates, so that's good. Gina has put together some end user trainings, which we will get distributed to hiring managers, so they can use the system well. Nothing on benefits today, and then number 9 under other. I did send last week a policy for training. The 3 of you had opportunity to review that.
I reviewed it. Sorry, I probably didn't say it looks good. Yeah,
Okay,
I think it looks good.
no adjustments that you saw. This policy is to implement mandatory training.
And you listed them all out, right?
Yeah, that are actually mandatory, not just through Grant County.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that as we develop the training programs, there may be more added, they may be adjusted, but essentially we have legal requirements that we need to capture in the policy and to make sure that that employees are aware of the new policy. So if you approve, I will ask you to sign it today.
What's that training mechanism? Those things that you count, you do, or, when whether you're looking at from the PDA, those things that you're looking at focusing on the count.
Yeah.
You actually get them done.
And then, as the board had discussed before, is to add the mandatory trainings as part of the annual performance review to ensure that those are being done by employees.
And some of them that they don't have an annual review, I think they're done with their steps, but they will get a cost of living increase. I don't know where they would group up, like in December, where the elected officials and department heads are notified that. I'm pretty sure there's employees out there that don't have an annual review, but just have something where, you know, they're gonna get a COLA or a step increase. Can you make sure that these classes have been
That they've been done. Well, yeah, and I think that if people don't do them, we will be notifying the department head or elected that an employee hasn't completed it, and it should be addressed.
But sometimes, you know, if there's no teeth in it, then it doesn't
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about it, but.
Yep.
I think if there's the incentive of, if you want you to get your next step increase or your next COLA,
Sure.
to be completed, kind of like the healthcare stipend that we get, you know, you have to complete some things,
Yep.
document it, and then you get it.
And then you get it. Okay.
I don't want to make it really difficult, I just want to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
So the employees had a tracking. Do the employees have like an online profile that they can check it to see where they're at?
Yes.
Yep. The local GovU.
Local GovU they can log in anytime, see what's been assigned, what they've completed. They'll have certificates. HR will have those records as well. And we'll be managing that system. And then the final item I have for you today is, and this is just for your review at your pleasure, we met with compensation consultant and on the 30th.
Thank you.
So we have the slides that we went over, the PowerPoint, so whenever you have.
Were you happy with them?
I am, yeah. They were very thorough. We met their entire group that will be working with us. There were 8. So 8 staff will be working with us at different times, so it'll be great. It will be a lot of work, but I think it will be good. We've sent out requests to elected officials and department heads to participate, have one leader from each to help with this and the policy. This one I just got from Kim today that.
Yeah, there was 2 others that were.
That Missy and Joey were willing to participate in the compensation review. No one has volunteered for the policy review. So, and department heads, I haven't heard from many of them either. So I sent out the reminder for this morning.
And it can't be Decor because she's already doing it.
I'm already doing it all.
So somebody else has to be a
It'd
part of
probably
it.
be Jim, Andy, Dell, Susie, for department head, Jim McKiernan, Hill,
Jim Anderson Cook.
So I will send out.
There's a
reminder.
list of some of them.
Well, and I, again, I appreciate their partnership if they are willing to assist, but if no one is willing to assist and they don't like the policies, well, I guess they had the opportunity to jump in and help out, so. We'll go from there, but we did have our meeting this morning with Lexapol. went through the first policy. They're integrating our policy into best practice policy. And so then we'll meet every other week, review that integration and look for duplicates or language that maybe doesn't need to be in there and or add language that is important, providing updates as well to our old policies. So it's going to be exciting to have that done.
I don't know about exciting, but
well,
it'll be good. It'll be really good.
Yeah, I don't know that the process is exciting, but in the end result is you can read a policy and it should be able to tell you what to do and how to do it. Secondary to the policy is we'll have a operational handbook as well that gives you more procedures and how to do like a PAR, for example, and the wage increase of a PAR. So hopefully that won't be so confusing to people. It'll be more spelled out.
All on the same path.
Yes.
3 different things.
Yes. And did the board want to sign this policy today or not?
Yeah, I'm good with that one.
You want to sign
I
it?
didn't see signature.
Oh, it's on the front.
Oh. Okay. I was like, I'm looking at it. I don't know why I need this.
Sorry,
paper.
when I handed it to you, I should have been.
You have to put a
more
sign here.
explicit.
You have to put a sign here, Dakota, because we
Sign
don't.
here.
Oh, it's just a little white line?
Yeah, just sign on the white line, please. Sorry.
I just thought it was
For
a
creatures
divider.
of habit.
And now that, once that's signed, then I will start to implement, that will go out to staff so they all see the policy. A notice will go out to the unions that we will have mandatory training, and then we will start assigning training to everyone. And then once that initial training is done or close to being done, then we can open up the environment for people to go in and take whatever trainings they might want, that they might want to take. But I wanted to limit it to the mandatory ones to begin with, but then we'll open it up. Because I think that there will be some pretty good items in there that they can glean from. All right, so that's what I have today. Does the board have anything they wanted to go over?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
Waiting for my coffee to kick in.
Gotta
Good
chug
one.
it.
Anything else for you guys?
I will give Kevin kudos. He attended a meeting with us last week and it was very helpful to have him there and the support that was provided. So thank you for
That was
that.
Friday. You were on. Yeah.
It was nice to have him there. Yes.
No, it was last Wednesday, district court.
Oh, the district court one.
District court.
Yeah, I heard that was good. Fun. I was told fun.
Everything
It was
completed that
fun.
needed to be done.
Yes. What's that?
You got everything completed that needed to be done, or?
Yes. Yep. I think we have a good understanding and both them and us want to move forward in a collaborative manner and work on our communication and it'll be good.
Okay, and it sounds like you have a meeting this Friday.
We do have a meeting.
Rob?
Yes.
attending?
Yes, it is on Rob's schedule and
Woohoo, next week is you.
Is it me?
I don't
On
know.
Friday?
We have to find you a meeting for next
Oh.
week.
there's
not
always
small,
meetings.
right?
I can find meetings for you if you need meetings.
No, I just want to make sure we're getting.
Yes, we have a meeting with legal on Friday.
But if Rob, you can't make it,
Yeah, I'm
I'll be
good.
available. So about my Wednesday last week, I knew my Wednesday was gonna be kind of close, but
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
excited. Very excited about this, and I think others are too.
Okay, we will go in recess until 2 p.m.
Okay.
Good afternoon. It is 2:01 p.m. and we will now start our weekly commissioners meeting and I will call the meeting to order. We will begin with an open forum for public input, 3 minutes per person, 15-minute time limit. Jerome, do you have any public comment?
I do,
Well then, please step to the edge of the table.
even though I can be heard better back there than you guys can, sitting where you are.
Well,
Can you, Jerome, can you hear me better now? I've commented, I don't know if we need to lower, you still can't hear very well.
You can hear everyone else in the room, but Rob shows up pretty good. You can hear him, but Kevin and yourself, not so. You gotta really be.
Jerome, there's probably a really good reason why you can't hear me, because I don't have anything worth hearing.
Rob talks on the exhale.
Yeah.
That's probably the only reason.
So my comments this week are that I feel that the county commissioner is doing an excellent job. Way better than the Republican Party at large. As you know, I'm a Democrat or an independent. I've always voted that way, except for twice in my life. I voted for Ronald Reagan, and I voted for, I don't even know his name, but he's our representative that voted to impeach Trump.
Dan Newhouse?
Yes, I voted for him after his vote for that, the next election, because I felt he was a man that had some scruples and wasn't willing to toe the party line just to be reelected, and it's proved okay for him. I feel that our president is making us a laughingstock of the world, and also some of his executive orders, like trying to take away birthright citizenship. That's not a good thing. I mean, if that was true, I would venture to say that everyone in this room now could be thrown out of the country because they don't have birthright citizenship. If you said something potentially that he didn't or his administration didn't agree with. I just felt it was time to maybe say a little something about it instead of just sitting there on my laurels. But I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerome. You could probably kind words.
Yes.
I do not see any call-in users, and we do not have anyone else in the room. So,
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the agenda.
I second, motion and second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Agenda is approved. Do we have any correspondence, emails, letters of support or response that are needed?
No.
Okay. Any for you, Cindy?
No.
Okay, round table then. Do you have round table items, Caitlin?
I just wanted to remind the commissioners, when you make the motion to approve the consent agenda, to note the amendment to the dollar amount for item number 4, the hands and paws request.
And the amended amount is going to be $3,000.
It was 2,400 to cover the professional
400.
professional time, the doctors. That's. Would you want to do 3,000?
I did not honestly remember if it was
I
3,000 or
think
not.
we said. Or do I have an old agenda week of April 21st?
In the notes I took.
Just a minute, I found my agenda. $2,400, because that's what the vet fees are.
All right. I like it even more. Tom, did you have any roundtable items?
Just let the board know that this morning I did this, in my update, I did discuss the walk-on item, which was the extension of the sale, the purchase and sale agreement with the PUD. While we still continue to wait for the short plat to get done, and I did give that walk-on item to Caitlin. That's it.
Caitlin does have a nap. Okay.
Yes.
Are we round table or are we still at correspondence?
Roundtable.
We received a letter from Kimco requesting a 1% or the 1% sales tax increase. And I did answer her back. It is councilmatic, but we've always said if the commissioners are going to increase the sales tax, we're gonna go out to the voters and do it. But right now, the economy, I don't feel that the economy is super strong to be asking for a sales tax increase, and no, it can be used for behavioral health in the jail. We just asked for 3/10% increase, and it's really, really hard to go back for 1% to 1/10. So I told her, unless the voters voted on it, I would not be in favor of moving that forward.
I had met with her already and passed on that same thought. She said that they would be putting together basically a campaign team to request it to be on the ballot. So I didn't read that email, but I did see her last week.
I should meet with the commissioners.
And Tom, this walk-on item is just to extend.
Yeah, it's the wholesale is contingent on the short plat being completed, and the last thing remaining is the decommissioning of the well out there, which we're in the process of doing, and it's just had to be extended.
Okay. Are there any other roundtable items?
The Kawanki youth, they are home. They had a great time here. I'm sure they'll be back, and I think they're going to work on, the school district is working on finding some of their STEM funding to send the kids back to Kawanki. We changed the second half of things changed. It's been an exhausting week, but it's a win-win.
Good. Any other items? None for me. All right, then I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda items 1 through 22.
It's 1 through 10. I'm so sorry.
10.
Did that last week
I'm
too.
so sorry. Last week was not my fault. It might have been. I don't know.
It was 24, but the agenda said 22.
Okay, so excuse me, consent agenda items 1 through 10, and sorry for my error there. And agenda item number 4, the request of success was $321, but I would like to change that to $2,400, so that is, we will only be covering the vet fees under professional services, miscellaneous general government.
A second. There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes to approve consent agenda items 1 through 10 with the modification to number 4 as stated by Commissioner Carter.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the walk-on, which is the extension of the PUD sale, because we're waiting to decommission the well. Other items.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes to extend the purchase and sale agreement with Grant PUD. No additional walk-ons? Okay. Should be a quick sign.
Caitlin, just for the record, when I said 1 through 22, I was turning the page and you corrected me before I got to number 10.
I wasn't here last week on consent, but 2 weeks ago, the motion was made to approve 1 through 22, and there was 24.
Or was it 24 and we had 22?
So sorry.
No, it was 24 of them, and we had 22, and I was like,
Caitlin?
Yes.
I almost called that in, but I thought, nah, I'll see if they catch it.
I caught it, but I was like, friendly amendment, I thought.
This is the walk-on item.
We'll see you all later.
See, Tom,
Thank you, Tom. Kevin must be gone.
he went to the landfill.
Oh, that's right.
I thought he was gonna call in, but
You gotta get a fine for an unsecure load, you can't. Oh, we don't have fines, it's a fee.
Purchase and sale agreement.
does an unsecured load fee apply if you have stuff in your bed that's not going to the dump? Because you have a dump trailer?
Your trailer has to be.
My trailer covers itself,
You should be okay.
but sometimes I'll have like a propane tank or something back there.
But Richard's
Yeah, the
going
dog.
for the dog. I'm still laughing about that.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it's not going anywhere. Beta's not going anywhere. She's dead.
So I remember it was a big, a fairly
Like, you wanna
large
see
dog
the
too.
thing that you signed? You paid it. I don't know. You know, you can
What are
probably
you supposed to do,
have
throw a
cheetahs.
spare tire on top of the dog? Really?
A tire will hold down a dog.
I think
It's
it's
dead.
kudos to the employee.
Oh, it's Tina. And she said, she was, she.
Lines
well.
up with her.
But you could ask Tina, she would know. But it's a state law.
It's also a state law that any dog that's in the back of a vehicle, like a bed of a pickup, it has a collar where they can't jump out and hit the road. But how many times have you seen that one?
Well, sometimes they've fallen over and they've been like, drag.
One time my dog was really, 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 really dirty. And I put him in the bed, but I strapped him to all four corners, and so he couldn't even move.
Public works.
Because I didn't want him trying to jump.
And then I need you guys to sign my notary book for this one. Yes.
For
so I
this
got a
one?
note for, yes, after you sign those, I'll notarize them afterwards, but I need you guys to sign in the book representative
Did it say
acknowledgement.
Happy Easter? No.
No,
Okay, I thought it for, I took a hot minute. I'm pretty good.
no, I mean, I like Easter, but I thought-
Do we sign all these, or do you do them all?
I'll do the notarize, you just need the sign here's. There should be
Oh, there's Kevin.
two sign
You're
here's.
done? Did you get a ticket for an, or a fee for an unsecured loan?
Oh, no, I don't do that.
For 30 bucks? You just, I thought it was 17.
Does he sign if, do you sign
Oh,
if you're
he
under
doesn't.
promotion? Okay. Now you just gotta
You
watch
don't
everybody
take breaks.
sign.
You go.
You'll sign
Oh,
here,
Just
print your
relax
name
after
there.
frantically- Or did you, were you on the call?
No,
Okay.
I was trying to race back before 3 o'clock.
No, yeah. Well, if we would have had more than 10.
I thought that the last was closed before.
Resolution,
What time's it close?
matter of transferring jurisdiction.
Yeah,
that
made it.
makes sense. Wow,
Hey, do we do this?
I figured.
No, I'll do the notarizing.
Oh,
You
oh,
just
I
need to do the
see, I
two
see.
sign here's.
Yeah, let me read my sticker a little bit better.
It's okay. Then you have two spots to
How are you
sign
today?
in there.
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Good.
That's good.
I thought the last was closed
Contract
before.
between Renew and
Okay,
Basin
great.
Refrigeration and Heating.
It's a good thing you laid it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get that trailer unloaded before I leave.
Thank you.
I'm leaving town tomorrow,
For
so.
all the candy.
Is that yours then? Or
Yes.
is that part? Okay, you have to have your own.
Yep.
What's going to you do quite a few?
We do a fair amount. Usually quick claim deeds that get sent over from the treasurer's office. I had a couple of weeks ago, it's just really wild, two separate groups of people came in asking if they could have a contract notarized. But there was no notary block. There was no reason to get it notarized other than just wanting it notarized. It was strange. And I told them no, and they were not super thrilled about that.
They weren't happy.
No.
Well, another notary's gonna give them the same answer.
Yep,
Hey,
yeah,
I should notarize contracts with.
Do they
right.
have handwritten a notary block on it?
No, it has to be it. They did ask that. They said, can I just write? Well, actually, they asked if I could write on there, and I said, no.
Yeah,
Or write a sheet that's
We, yes, and since we don't charge for services, we do not have to provide a sheet. And I told them that also, and they were
You
not
work
thrilled.
for me.
Okay, and you got Tom
Yeah.
back on that.
Yes, I did. Yep, first thing. Rock and roll.
All right, it
Yeah.
is 2:16 PM and the commissioner meeting is over. We will be back at 3 PM for
Oh, wait, that's two. Can I have,
An open
TS
record
just come
public
down right
hearing.
now?
Yeah,
And
you
do
can
this?
Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, May 6th, 3:01 PM, and we are here for an open record public hearing to consider a request to vacate a portion of unbuilt Thomas Short Plat. To give us a brief overview, we have Barb O'Neill from Grant County Public Works with us today.
So Thomas Short Plat was done back in early 2005, I believe. This specifically pertains to Lot 3. There was a closed loop road that was required of the Short Plat so that they could continue to make lots. That is a planning requirement. There were a couple of boundary line adjustments and surveys done that ignored this right of way or went around it. And then in 2008, Ladonyi's Short Plat was allowed to go through, which totally changed the trajectory of that portion of Wild Goose Road. So now it goes to the northwest instead of the northeast. There is a development that is considering Lot 3, and as we were doing our discovery, we found this information out. And so now we are vacating that extra right-of-way as it's no longer useful to the public, and the public will be better served by its vacation and abandonment. We have consulted a professional surveyor on this as the best way to proceed, and vacating that right-of-way was his recommendation. I have the recommendation of the county engineer, and we are ready to go.
Commissioners, any questions?
I have no questions.
I don't have any questions. I think we need to do it.
Makes sense. All right, hearing no questions, we will open up the public comment portion of this hearing. Members of the audience, do you have any public comment?
No, thank you.
All right. Looks like we have no call-in users at this time for this hearing, so I'll entertain a motion to close the public comment portion of this hearing.
So moved.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Public comment portion of this hearing has been closed.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the vacation of the portion of unbuilt Thomas Short Plat AFN 1174662, section 17T19, R25 EWM. Was that using right? As presented by Public Works.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Only discussion item would be just to make sure the clarification of R28 is in the record. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, granting the request to vacate the portion of unbuilt Thomas Short Plat as pronounced by Commissioner Carter. Thank you. This concludes our hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we are in recess for today, ending at 3:05 PM.
Just create a